Hello, folks in the internet, and welcome back to another edition of the ONETA Show, brought to you by PT Creative. As always, I'm your host, Evan Davies, and with me today is boy Angie. Angie's back, which that means y'all know. Great, we have me. I do know Mia Goth's face. Thank you for this introduction to share my screen immediately. That is not what we're talking about because we are doing more Smash Bros. Stuff, but we decided to have a random conversation 5 seconds before recording, and that is why we have Mia Goth up on screen right now.
Look how scared she is.
I know her face. I know who she is, and I know her face now to answer your question.
Do you know this face specifically?
Unfortunately, yes.
What do you think that sounds like, if you had to guess?
That sounds like someone who's really frustrated at the inconsistency of bosses in Super Smash Bros.
Ah!
Yeah.
I hate these bosses.
Yes. I think that's what that is.
That's how I imagine them.
That's how I imagine it. That's how I see it.
Smash Brothers bosses, then I should probably put up the best Smash Brothers boss.
Oh boy.
There it is. Your boys, the Fighting Polygon team.
We will talk Fighting Polygon team. We're going to do that right now. So today, to continue our Super Smash build of Super Smash Bros. Reboot, as you will, we've already determined our final 40, and we've determined the new fighters we would add. We are still not done toying with the roster, so to speak, but that is for another show. We're going to talk about fixes to old characters. Are we going to save any other characters? Do we going to make any tweaks whatsoever? Or possible DLC. We're going to do that eventually. But today, we wanted to focus, because we got so excited about it the last couple times, we're focusing on boss fights. So as we're discussing boss fights, we're going through, nice color changing here, it's a glorious setting.
You're welcome, friend.
It's great. It's great for those that are watching on screen. Unless you're on Spotify, and then you're just listening. And by the way, thank you for joining us on Spotify. We appreciate it. By the way, we're on Spotify now, Angie.
Hey, we made it.
We made it big time, baby.
I'm assuming we are getting 1/1000th of a cent for every 1 million listens, because that's how Spotify does everything.
Probably. Ugh. So in 1,000 years, when I listen to our episodes back in the car to remember what I said as I'm doing notes on the way to work, eventually we're going to get 1/1000th of a cent.
Man, the most millennial fucking thing you've ever said is in 1,000 years, comma, when I'm on my way to work. Yes, you will never retire, sir.
Well, let's be real. I married a doctor. I have a chance.
Yeah, if any of us do, that's fair.
I married a doctor. I have a shot.
Hopefully her hands are insured.
They are. They are insured well, but we won't go into that today. But we're going to quickly... No worries whatsoever. I think it's fucking funny. I don't give a shit. We are going to go through all the previous bosses that we have, and then we're going to really think about what do we want to see in a boss. So I think that'll be kind of more of an organic conversation, and then we're going to start nominating bosses we'd like to see in the game. I have a whole list of about 15, 16, but they're all interchangeable. There's a lot that are similar type bosses that we're going to get to. So without further ado, we're going to go through now and go through the former boss battles of Super Smash Bros. Now, if you're seeing on screen, you're seeing the Fighting Polygon team. I did not include the Fighting Polygon team or any variation of that team, such as the Wireframes, such as the Mii Brawlers or the Mii team, from any of the previous iterations of the game, because that feels more challenge mode to me than it does boss fight. I think that's more appropriately in the vein of the home run contest, of the target smash, of the dash levels. I think that's more that trajectory of what we want. I don't think it's a boss fight, so I did not include that in that. Would you say that is a fair assessment to make, Angie?
I think that's very fair. I will call out that I have stumbled upon a quiz that makes you guess what character each polygon is, and this is the coolest thing I think I've ever seen.
I was gonna say that's Captain Falcon. Sure, that's Lucas.
It's Pukas. Oh, who's this one?
I don't know who that one is. Go Rob.
In support of the fact that this is an audio medium, I'm going to change this page.
Because you were going to get too distracted.
I'm not going to enjoy it. I'm already getting too distracted.
But
back to
because
it.
we care about the people.
Polygon team.
Because we care about the people, we will try to find the link to that website so you can play for yourself when you decide to get to it while you're on the internet.
Right now.
Alrighty. So, we're going to start.
Submit your high scores. See if you can beat me. My high score is 89.
Nice. We're going to go through by version of the game. So the N64 bosses, we had Giant DK, Metal Mario, and Master Hand. To me, Master Hand's the only one that's got to stay.
Oh. In my mind, Master Hand's the only one of those that's like a real boss.
Right.
Like, the other two are like, look, we got graphics. Isn't that cool? What if we made things look metal? That's crazy.
Yeah.
And like, that's cool, but like...
I would love to throw that in, and I was so happy to see Metal Mario in spirit mode. I was like, that's a nice nod. That's really fun. But same time, I don't think it works.
We can do better.
Yes, we can do better
at this point.
I think that could be a fun challenge, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Now we go to Melee. Crazy Hand makes his introduction into Melee, which blew my fucking mind as a kid. I already struggled with Master Hand, and then Crazy Hand just blew me.
What if there was
a
second hand?
I remember playing Crazy Hand for the first time and going, I am fucked. Like, I think that came out of my 10-year-old mouth. I said, I am fucked.
I am fucked, haha.
Giga Bowser makes his first appearance ever in Super Smash Bros. Melee. And
that's cool.
Master Hand twice. That's dumb. I think I missed one. And then Master Hand. Again. But Master Hand has changed up a little bit, and there are additions with every game to Master Hand. So those are your big ones going into Melee.
Are there no other Smash Melee boss fights? Giant DK, Giant Kirby, Giga Bowser. I guess you're right.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's very much... When I watch videos and do more research, Melee is really just meant to be N64 Smash Plus. It's not meant to be like the sequel. It's kind of what what they always wanted to do with the original. They got to do in Melee. That's the way to look at it.
What was sticking out to me when I was thinking about Melee is because they have the challenge mode.
Yeah,
I know there are challenges that are like Giant DK versus Giant Bowser.
Yeah.
And then like fighting Dark Link and then fighting Ganondorf, where like they are kind of presented in the context of being a boss fight.
Right.
But like it's not the same thing as like Giga Bowser. Giga Bowser is something special.
Giga Bowser is rad as fuck. And the first time you see it, you're like, it's the same thing that Crazy Hand. I was like, I'm fucked. Like, there's no way I'm going to get this done.
And then when you get to Brawl and you can like play as Giga Bowser, so cool.
Yeah, very, very fun. So I think Crazy Hand and Giga Bowser have to stay. I would say we're fair on that one.
As a starting point, I think I agree, but I'm open to them. I'm open to something being cut down the line.
Sure. Brawl is the biggest expansion of bosses due to the Subspace Emissary. The first one is going to be the most obscure, and that is Duon. Duon
who cares?
Is the like rolling Centurion cart in the bottom left corner of the picture on screen. That is Duon. Gallium.
Are we not counting Piranha Plant? I thought
Piranha Plant is in there, but I'm just going through alphabetical order, sort of, to a degree.
Oh, sorry, alphabetical order. You're good.
So
you're good.
Duon makes its first appearance, and it's the only thing I really like about it is it's a Smash original, which I think is kind of fun.
That's fine. Cut it.
Gallium, which is the one in the middle that made its return in Ultimate. Gallium, I think, has something to it. Meta Ridley and Ridley were bosses, which I think are possibly problematic as players. But I have an idea for that. I have an idea for that, so I'm going to table those two. PD Piranha makes its first appearance in Brawl as a boss. Porky, which is in the bottom right corner, and that is your Earthbound.
I forgot about Porky.
Everybody does. It's that weird middle ground that Duon, Gallium, and Porky are all in. They remember Rayquaza and PD Piranha because They're at the beginning of the stages of the game. And then Ridley, you're like, yo, you get to fight Ridley in this game? It's amazing.
For what it's worth, I also forgot Ridley, but I did not forget Taboo.
And then, so yeah, I was going to say, you have Porky, you have Rayquaza, or Rayquaza, depending on how you say it, and Taboo. And Taboo, to me, it should be brought back. I thought Taboo was great.
Taboo is like, that's just Dead or Alive. Who's the Dead or Alive last boss? Do you know who I'm talking about?
No, but I don't play enough Dead or Alive.
There's like a Metal Man.
Hell yeah.
Metal Man boss fight. Is it Alpha 152? So who is the
that looks very that's got to be very similar. That's so yeah, that's definitely what you're thinking.
Yeah, it's like big glowing lady.
Yeah.
The reason I mention it is because the developers of Dead or Alive also work on Smash Brothers, starting with Brawl moving forward, correct?
What Dead or Alive? Who's got Dead or Alive? Is that Bandai Namco? Or is that somebody else?
Live developer. Let's confirm. Koei Tecmo.
Koei Tecmo. When I think they start in. Yeah, we got to check that on that one for Smash Brawl.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, I mean, you never
List
know.
of companies with minor representation.
Yeah.
I know that there's like
I think they're
might
involved
be
in
Namco Bandai that helps them with it.
Yeah, Bandai Namco is definitely part of it, for sure. Which helped a lot in a lot of different things.
I'm gonna just do a quick what fighting games does Namco make?
Yeah. But I think all those
Tekken.
Yeah. So of the bosses we listed there, I'm most interested in Taboo.
Oh yeah.
And I can see again we're gonna table Ridley and Meta Ridley because I have kind of a categorical list of what we're kind of like your categorical way of introducing characters in our last couple shows together. Yeah. So
like Leisure Suit Larry.
Yes. So where I would say Taboo's I'm most interested in. As a Pokemon fan, I'd like to get Rayquaza back because I thought that was a nice introductory boss, but I don't think it's a must-have. Mm-hmm. And then from our sense of trying to represent as many game franchises as possible after we already had to cut some, although it was forgettable, I think you and I could maybe come up with an idea for Porky so we could get Earthbound in somehow. I don't need Porky. What I would say to that
is, I think Taboo, like easy inclusion. Taboo's cool.
Yeah.
I feel like when I think of Subspace Emissary, the first boss that comes to mind and the one that like stuck with me was Rayquaza.
Yeah.
Like that moment when like Rayquaza comes out feels like that was the first big eye opening of like, oh yeah, like this is a crossover game. Mm-hmm. Like you could have a like, I'm gonna punch the hell out of like Rayquaza, and that's a boss fight I can do. And like that was like a exciting eye opening moment.
Yeah.
When I see Porky, I have genuinely zero recollection of that fight at all. But when I'm looking at it, it's like, oh, there's a real good creepy factor here. We could probably do something cool with it.
Yes.
So like I agree, like if we're open to the idea of redesign, let's redesign this. Let's make a cooler Porky boss fight.
Well, especially even if you keep the aesthetic, you can give different moves. Yeah. It's not because the Earthbound inspirations are I don't even know if Porky is Earthbound or technically Mother 3 that was never even localized for English. But
yeah, I know what you're saying.
They took huge liberties with it to make it a Smash boss. They had to because Earthbound doesn't have enough in it from its strict gameplay. There is no ability to make that like a major boss fight, so to speak. At least from my perspective of knowing it. So I would be interested in Porky for representation, and I definitely say Rayquaza is at least worth a conversation.
Oh yeah, you can do something cool with Rayquaza.
Yeah, and Ridley and Meta Ridley again, we will discuss. Wii U, ironically, only brought back or only introduced one boss, and obviously that's probably due to the 3DS components of putting Smash on the 3DS. Mm-hmm. And that is a character that I didn't know existed until roughly 3 hours ago or 2 hours ago when I was making the notes. That is Master Core.
Yellow Devil?
It's Master Core. Yellow Devil's
Oh,
not
are
even a
we not?
boss.
We're not counting Yellow Devil.
Yellow Devil, I believe, is just only the stage. It doesn't count as a boss, to my knowledge.
I guess that's fair. And it's kind of a, if it were a boss fight, that would be a weak boss fight anyway.
Right.
So what's the name of this Master Core?
Master Core. So give people a reference.
What
It
is
looks like
this,
just
dude?
it looks like the classic giant. Oh, Hollywood studios are trying to make a giant intergalactic villain. What do you make it? A poop cloud. That's what Master Core looks like to me. And I never
Is
played
he?
the story mode of Wii U and 3DS.
He almost looks. He almost looks like these guys.
Oh, the big Pikmin
Where
guys?
are they? Yeah, like not this one specifically, but this
Yeah,
category of enemy.
sure.
He almost feels like a Bulborb.
Interesting.
I wonder if that's like intentional.
I wouldn't be shocked if
Whatever.
it.
He seems like a nothing boss fight.
I would have to argue that simply because I included it because I thought maybe include it simply so that game doesn't just like go by the wayside. But
Oh, so hold on.
you do
I
remember
actually
this.
I do remember this boss fight. I have done this before. So what's interesting about it is that it is this like blob of things,
Yeah.
but
It
it
turns into other
takes on
stuff.
different forms.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're fighting like these different form, the giant, the beast, the swords or whatever. I remember the boss fight being hard. I remember feeling fine about that.
Okay.
Like I was never like stoked to fight it. I didn't think it was particularly cool when I was doing it,
Yeah.
but it was challenging and like it was fun to like be playing with friends and trying to beat this thing together.
Yeah. So that's why I'm gonna
Yeah.
say I don't think we need
But
Master Core, but
I don't think we need Master Core. I think
and
we could dump Master Core right in the trash.
then we go Ultimate. Ultimate has a strong case for bosses, and it was because of the way they set up Classic mode very wisely. They introduced the two central bosses to Spirit mode, Darkon and Gallium.
Mm-hmm.
What on earth is
Can you
this?
hear this?
Yes. What on earth is this?
Um, it'll make sense.
Oh god. I'm so afraid right now.
Hold up. There it is.
Also, can't wait to get blocked or sued for this, by the way.
Oh yeah. We should definitely cut that. My
Yeah.
bad. Didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
It's a cool song. It's Ultimate by Denzel Curry.
You got right on the fringe of fair use. Right on the fringe.
Oh yeah. You made
So
it.
I think we're either screwed by a couple seconds or
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 just mute me for a little bit.
we
I'm fine.
we made it for just by a couple seconds. Who knows? Who cares? Either way, we're having fun.
We'll find out.
So we have
We'll
Darkon.
find out if we get demonetized.
Exactly. Yeah, demonetized. Darkon and Gallium. Gallium is the light angel winged center core thing, and Darkon is the dark evil version of that.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see Gallium pretty much everywhere, and then Darkon will eventually come up.
Yeah.
What you're doing. Then you have Dracula, which I thought was a great boss fight. I enjoyed that. So on screen, if you watch it, you have Gallium and Darkon. Dracula was really cool. Ganon, Beast Ganon became a fight, which I also thought was a really nice inclusion, as it's kind of one of the quintessential Nintendo bosses. Marks from Kirby, and then the big one was Rathalos.
Yeah.
So of those, where
I
do
think,
you land on keeping them?
Of those, Marks is an easy inclusion. Like Marks is like it is an unexpected Kirby rep, and when you like see the way that that fight plays out, it's like it does that cool thing that all the Kirby games do, where at the end of it you're like fighting some like Lovecraftian monstrosity,
Yeah.
and like you never expect that from how cute and adorable Kirby is, and
Yeah.
it's cool that Marks like does that and shows that. I think that as a fight, the Rathalos one is really cool for the ways that it does capture like the core game, like
Sure.
the things like the way that you are using tools in the arena
Yep.
against Rathalos to like make the fight go easier is such a good little way to represent Monster Hunter, and I think that is super duper cool.
Yep.
Um, Dracula does a similar thing where like that is just the Dracula boss fight from Symphony of the Night. Like you're
Really?
just doing that Symphony of the Night boss fight
I
in
did not
Smash
know that. That's
Brothers.
super
Yes.
cool. That's super cool.
Yeah, you should check out the like intro to Symphony of the Night because like it is like a near direct homage. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So like all of those stick out as like cool to me.
Honestly, I am truly of the opinion, because I want to have as many boss fights as possible in the game. I think that'd be a great way to create the story, which we're going to talk about a little bit on today's show. I have honestly no problem keeping all of them and just augmenting one or two of them.
So does that include the Gorilla Dude,
Which gorilla dude?
Gorilla Robot, Gorilla Robot Man?
That we
In my
already
mind, he always looked like a gorilla.
he is the return from Brawl. He's the only returning character of the non.
But I mentioned because he's still cut, right?
Yeah, we still have him out. Gallium is out
Cool.
from
Okay.
our Brawl. So, but Gallim and Darkon are an interesting kind of yin yang fight, especially if they're when you use the path against both of them. And don't cheat.
It's sick.
If you're playing Smash, don't cheap out and just take one route. You gotta go the middle route and take them both on.
Be the best version of yourself.
You gotta try. At the very least, you gotta try.
Mm-hmm.
The one I want to augment, not because I thought it was a bad boss fight, I just think that we could do something even cooler, is I want to augment Ganon. And I have an idea for that I'm excited to share. So as of right now,
like that Ganon boss fight, you kind of learn it.
Yeah.
And once it's learned, it's like you figured it out.
Very much
It's
so.
not going to be hard anymore.
So yeah, the only thing was timing the stupid spin moves correctly. Like, you learn how to do it very quickly. It's just timing it properly. So, returning thus far, we have Master Hand, Crazy Hand, Giga Bowser, Rayquaza, Taboo, Darkon, Dracula, Gallim, Ganon, Marks, and Rathalos. So we're at 11. I don't care how many boss fights we have. This is a mythical game. I'd like to keep it 20 and down, because almost then it kind of feels like your bosses don't mean as much if you have too many of them. But same time, I also don't care if it's a good idea. It's a good idea. If it's fun, it's fun. Who gives a shit?
I feel like we got to pull up our list of like who the Smash characters are as well.
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't have my list. I don't have my tiers.
Oh boy.
What are we gonna do?
That's gonna be super fun. I love the idea of you just
I'll start
having
with tiers and then I'll add mine to it.
Okay. That's totally fine. All
Can
right.
you see him on my screen?
I can see him on your screen. It was just always funny when first it was your list and I just saw the Dr. Money category. That just always brings my heart so much joy. Yeah. So much joy. By the way, we had a contentious topic. Not contentious, but something we just couldn't figure out. I think I figured out something for another character, so we might have to stab at something. But new bosses I would love to consider is one thing that I loved about Smash Melee and Smash Brawl was conditional unlocks. I really loved that you would do something to unlock somebody. It wasn't just rinse, repeat, classic mode. Now, I love the fact that it was available to me because, like an idiot, to you and the rest of our friend group, I was having you all over to play Smash Ultimate. The day of release, I got it early from GameStop Thursday night. I took off work Friday and said I had things to do, also known as play Smash. I no longer work for this place, so it's fine. But I just took the day off to play Smash, and I said before you guys got there on Saturday, I will have every character unlocked, and I was damn close. I had like 5 left, and my eyes were just like, "Oh my
Um,
god!" But I did it as close as I possibly could.
if I can actually share a quick story because it's kind of fun to talk about now.
Yeah,
Smash Ultimate leaked like I think it was like a week or two before
yeah,
the game like officially came out,
yeah.
and I had a hacked Switch. So I had already pre-ordered the game. I knew I was gonna buy it. So I said like, screw it, I'm gonna like download this game. And I like when it leaked and was available, like sent a just mass group text to everyone I knew who like played Smash Brothers that was in the city. And I was like, I have Smash Brothers. Let's play Smash Brothers. And there was like this big moment where everyone's like, we're doing it tonight. And like all got together like 2 weeks before like official Smash came out and started working on the like unlocking all the characters,
Yeah.
which was cool because it was like all of these people got to like take a bite of the apple.
Yeah.
They had that forbidden fruit. They had a little bit of the knowledge that others weren't going to have.
Yeah.
And then after 2 weeks, when it was like launch day, like Smash officially came out, we had a big old LAN party where we set up multiple TVs in a room,
Hell
and
yeah.
we had both switches set up. And so there was like some people on one side of the room working on officially unlocking all the characters, and then a bunch of people on the other side of the room working on just like playing with all the new characters because since I had the hack switch, like I had already unlocked everyone.
Hell
So like
yeah.
it was really cool day one to be able to like have both fronts being like channeled at the same time.
That's
And like
really
it
fun.
was the Smash Ultimate release was a particularly like exciting and awesome experience because of how everything came together.
Well, I also feel like it's the
And that's
first cultural release that the Switch had as a system where it just like galvanized
mm,
people again. Where like Breath of the Wild just kind of took people by storm because you're coming off the Wii U era where you're like, I mean,
mm,
it's a Nintendo console. Like that's kind of
yeah,
what the Switch felt like to a lot of people. And then when they launched
yeah.
with 2 titles, Breath of the Wild, and at the time I wasn't a Zelda player, and I was very ignorant and stupid about it, and it took you showing up at my house being like, just fucking take the paraglider and look what you can do in this game. And I was just like, this is dumb. And
Yeah.
I saw it and I was like, this is awesome. I'm gonna have to buy this game. And that's what I got.
Actually, this is incredible.
And that's why I bought a Switch was for Breath of the Wild. But there was 1-2 Switch and Breath of the Wild and nothing. And it felt like Nintendo kind of knew that because they had Super Mario Odyssey. But it's weird. Like I'm not saying Super Mario Odyssey. It was really fun. I loved that game. It was very
Yeah.
enjoyable to play. But it almost was like Nintendo knew. They're like, we need to galvanize these people somehow. Super Mario's not going to do it.
It
We released Zelda at the wrong time to do it. It's got to be Smash.
the Zelda thing is funny though, because like, for example, I did not play it on the Switch. I just
Yeah.
played it on the Wii U
Yeah.
because like my roommate had a Wii U, and like everyone was talking about like, wow, this Switch is incredible. Like, look at the Zelda game, and I was like, yeah, but also like, you're playing it on your TV anyway. Like,
Exactly.
Wii U's fine. It works. It was fine.
Yeah.
And then ultimately, the real experience was like, but also download the Wii U version on your PC and emulate it because now you can do 4K, 60 frames per second. It's a better
your
game. It's a
your
better game. It's a
your
better game.
usual master race policies you always have.
Oh yeah, get
Yeah.
everything on PC because PC is better than everything.
I do have something for your PC love in our introductory boss ideas. And this is just going to be spitball
Ooh,
tonight. I don't have any like order of whatever. I have
I
some
have the
that
tier list up by the way.
I see that, and that is very, very helpful. Faves for gamers: Doctor Money, Wacky and Wild, and Glover.
Did you see the new category?
Super Glover.
Yeah, you had more categories than I did, so I
Well, I
didn't
had
see it.
Nah, so that's why.
Yeah.
Jonesy's in his own category by himself. Nah. And I like how
Did you do the Super Glover
you didn't
category?
edit the list for accuracy. You just put it in whatever order you wanted.
No, it's edited for accuracy. Exactly.
Sure. Sure. Let's go with that idea. Sure.
Color, go ahead.
All right. So, audio listeners, apologies. We're just doing so much on the video form. So, I would start with this. Like I said, I like the unique unlocks for Melee and Brawl. I thought that was a really fun way
Yes.
to get characters. I would like for some of the villains, that would be the way you unlock them, is you take the boss fight of that particular villain, and that's how you unlock them. So if you want Sephiroth, you fight Sephiroth as a boss. And then you get Sephiroth,
Mm,
the playable character. Same thing, Bowser, it's obvious. It already exists. Use it. You have
yeah.
to beat Giga Bowser to get Bowser. And then it feels like those villains
Dude,
that are already limited are even bigger rewards because you conquered somebody and they're almost like forced to join your team because you showed them you're better than them. I love that idea.
did they do that in like Brawl or no, so if I'm remembering correctly, that is something that happens in Ultimate, right? When you're going through Spirit mode. Like you have to beat Giga Bowser to unlock Bowser.
Yes, and that was
I think.
there, but spirit mode is just so
N- It's different. It's different.
it's
I get
just
what you're saying.
different. So like it's not like
Yeah.
beating a boss, you're beating a spirit up version of the same character. So when I look
Yeah.
at that, I love the idea of, which is why I said we need a table meta Ridley and Ridley from Brawl. Maybe showing giant space dragon Ridley and meta Ridley
Mm-hmm.
as potential boss fights to get us back to Ridley. I like that. I like
Yeah.
Giga Bowser for Bowser. I like Sephiroth as we've included him before. And then two that I
Uh
really
huh.
wanted to do was 3 phases of Mewtwo, where you like go to Cerulean Cave,
Ooh.
you get Mewtwo, and then he's just like, "No, I'm better than you," and then he Mega evolves into Mega Mewtwo X, and then you think you've finally done it, and then he evolves into Mega Mewtwo Y, and you're like, "What the fuck is this boss fight? Like, this is bullshit." But
That'd
it's
be pretty
fun.
sick.
And then after
Yeah.
he kind of has that moment that brings him back to more that anti-hero, which is so crazy to say anti-hero Pokemon, but then he can say, "You've proven your worth to
It's
me."
valid. I get it.
Like, "You've proven your worth to me. Yes, I will join your team." And the one that what I said about augmenting Ganon, I love the idea of still having OG Beast Ganon included, but I'd like to do big sword fighter Demon King Ganon, then go to phase 2, which is traditional Beast Ganon, and then Beast 3 or phase 3, we're truly fucking up and we're doing draconified Ganon from Tears of the Kingdom, where you're like falling out
Mm,
of the fucking sky and having to like fight him on his own back, like Tears of the Kingdom style.
I I haven't finished Tears of the Kingdom, so
I am so
that
sorry.
that sounds sick.
I'm so sorry
No,
that I just
it's not a
spoiled
big
that to
deal.
you. Also, how have you not finished Tears of the
Hey,
Kingdom yet?
check this out. Ganon turns into a big monster.
Yes,
Like
I
spoilers.
yeah, it's
Whatever.
spoilers.
It's fine. Yeah.
Also, how have you not
Yeah.
finished Tears of the Kingdom yet? You finish
Because
everything.
that's a big ass game. I probably spent more time in Tears of the Kingdom than you have. I just haven't beaten it. Oh, that's actually in Breath of the Wild. I have not beaten all four of
Divine
the
Beast.
animal people.
Yeah,
The Divine Beast, yeah.
that's
I beat one of
hard.
them and then I beat Ganon and then that was the game. Cuz I was like it's only going to get easier from here if I'm going to fight Ganon. I got to fight him now. So then I did and I was like, "Oh, that was sick. Okay, well, I win."
That hurts my brain in so many different ways.
You play video games wrong.
I I know you play very differently and you love the biggest challenge possible. I like getting the
Yeah.
story. That's what I like about games. So those are the big ones that I want to talk about first because they're augmenting characters in some way, shape, or form that you can get
Mhm.
in your game playable, which I thought could be really enjoyable
Yeah.
experience for players. It brings the challenge
Mhm.
back. It brings back a reward, not just oh I beat the boss. You get a reward for beating the boss that's extremely tangible in the game. I really liked that
Mhm.
idea. So that is why I went that route with those guys. How do you feel about that idea?
I wanted to ask about your Mewtwo example
Yes.
because I think there's two ways I interpret it. I think both ways I interpret it are cool. I think one is cooler than the other.
Yeah.
But the idea that I was thinking is for that Mewtwo boss fight, I like the idea of like, or I guess I should ask the question: were you imagining it as being one set of stocks that you're fighting Mewtwo on? Because I like the idea that like you have the like a challenger approaches screen comes up,
Yeah.
and like when you're about to like KO them, they just disappear, and then like it's the end of the battle. And then like later on, that challenger approaches again, but now it's in like it's not in Cerulean Cave anymore. It's like in a different location, and you see him transform into Mewtwo X. So it being like there are
Ooh.
multiple separate instances of a challenger approaches like situations you have to satisfy to like beat him these three separate times in order to unlock him. I like that idea a lot because one, the big surprise of like, oh yeah, I'm about to unlock Mewtwo, last big hit, and then like, what the hell just happened? Like that seems like a really cool moment. And then to see him come up again and like, oh, I guess like it broke last time. Let me fix it this time. Except now it's just a completely different boss fight. Like those, both of those moments sound like really big, like eyes wide open, like jaw agape. Like, oh, this game's doing new stuff. This game's surprising me.
I love that idea as long as you threw in a cutscene to at least tease a player to know that they're not getting fucked. I love that
Yeah.
idea though, because I originally just thought of it like, oh, I beat Mewtwo. God, that sucked. And then all of a sudden it's just like, no, you didn't. Mega Evolve, and you're like, son of a bitch. Like, it's kind of like every Ganon fight.
A three-phase single boss fight.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's how I thought of it. Very much like the Dracula fight, where you beat Dracula, and
Yeah.
like you said early on, I didn't know how much of an homage that was to OG Symphony of the Night because I never played through Symphony of the Night. I've played 10 minutes of Symphony of the Night. So
for what it's worth, it's the first 10 minutes of the game.
So clearly I didn't get there. So it's so sad.
It's really funny.
So I do have a sidebar conversation, but that's different. So I loved it was very appealing to me where I was like, oh, beat Dracula. Okay, that wasn't so bad. I thought that they really built Dracula up as a boss for all the cutscenes and all the all the prep for this game. And all of a sudden it phased into like Beast Dracula, and I was like, fuck. Like, damn it. Like, now I gotta do this again and it's worse. Like, but then it felt
and it's harder.
And it felt like an accomplishment. Because again, I play fantasy RPGs. And it's story based and character based. It's not a lot of challenge based. As we've covered, I don't play the Dark Souls S stuff. So it like the challenging stuff isn't always there for me.
Yeah.
So that's where I always go for things of that nature. I go to those routes of of character based stuff. So when I got a challenge and it was fulfilling and rewarding like that, I was like, oh, this is cool. I really enjoy that. So that I love the idea of your three phases, but they're all separate. You have to get to different parts of the game. I think that would be great for a story mode to be like, oh, I'm getting Mewtwo. This is great. And then all of a sudden you're like, wait, why isn't I'm supposed to get the unlock? Like, where's my Mewtwo? I want my Mewtwo. And it doesn't happen. I think that's really cool.
I think so too.
And the other one I had again was Ganon. In terms of
I like the Ganon idea as well. What's the first phase that you're talking about?
With Ganon? Well, you didn't beat Tears of the Kingdom, so that's part of the problem.
Okay, so it's related to that. I got it.
So, spoilers.
In my mind, I was imagining first phase would be like fighting normal Ganon. Like Ganondorf.
Yeah, so like that's possible, but because we already discussed this, I want to update Ganondorf to make it more unique and not, even though they have made Ganondorf at least a little bit more unique in Smash than it used to be just slow Captain Falcon clone. I think there's enough material in Tears of the Kingdom's cutscenes and lore and the rest of the Zelda games now that I think you could do a really cool and unique new iteration of Ganon as Demon King Ganon from Tears of the Kingdom.
I think so too.
And if you can't fill it out with just Tears of the Kingdom, you can fill it in with other spots from other Zelda games, such as Ocarina of Time or Twilight Princess, that Ganon's in. So the way
I bet they wouldn't even need to do that. I bet they could totally just do like Demon King, yeah.
They wouldn't, but I love the idea of updating the model to look like Demon King Ganon. and giving that updated look to give a new feel to that character. Because the Ganon fight in Tears of the Kingdom, spoilers for people who haven't played it. Sorry I didn't give it to you the last one, because I thought Angie was on top of it. Was you fight corporeal, I guess is the best way. You fight Demon King Ganon like the actual person. Sure, he's got the shade and the shadow, but it's Demon King Ganon that you're fighting. And you beat him, and then because you beat him, he feels he has no other option. He turns himself into the dragon. Yeah, he drops the sensu bean.
Yeah.
So he feels the need to turn into the dragon, and he draconifies and becomes the dragon, and that becomes the second stage of the fight, much like Breath of the Wild, where you fight Calamity Ganon, and then he turns into Beast Ganon. It's a similar mechanic, it's just different in how you're doing.
And so presumably they implemented something cooler. Yeah, like the Beast Ganon in Breath of the Wild was cool conceptually.
It's a great cinematic. It's a great cinematic.
Shoot my 3 glowing weak points.
But it's not an impressive fun part of it.
Agreed.
Where the Calamity Ganon part, you're like, fuck, this is tough. Especially if I only beat one divine beast.
Is that how you did it?
No, you did it. That's what you just said. Is you only did one divine beast beforehand, which is absurd.
You know what's the crazy part?
What?
It was still easy for me.
I'm sure it was. Because you're just a god.
I'm just a gamer god. It comes easy to me, baby.
Oh. I'm sorry, I just cut your line with laughter, but it got me, and I appreciated it. So those are the ones that I thought were at least interesting. I thought we could at least think of that possibility with the Nemesis. I just didn't know how to incorporate the Nemesis.
I was thinking about that too.
Like that. I just wasn't sure how do you pull that off. And then to my recollection,
he's got like multiple like mutations he does.
Yeah.
So like it would be very easy for us to do like there's some version of that Nemesis boss fight where you got to kill him with the giant rocket launcher or the giant like laser gun, and that'd be sick.
So I toyed with that idea, and I'm definitely open to it. I just like I've actually never played Resi 3. I've only played Resi 2, and then 4, 7, 8.
Have you not played any of the Resi 3s?
No, not at all. I need to.
Okay.
It's turned into one of those games where I'm always like where I'm in a rut, and I'm like, you know what I should do? I should just go buy a new game. And I'm always like, Resi 3 is always there. I can always just go buy it. And I never do. And I should, but I never do.
And you specifically mean the 3 remake, not the original?
Yeah, the 3 remake, yeah.
Okay. Just play the original.
Yeah.
Original's cool.
It's more so I have an Xbox that can play a remake version to make it look great. I might as well just make it look great.
That's fine.
I know. I know. Such a poser. My apologies.
You don't even like horror. So I think that there could totally be a good Nemesis boss fight. The thing I'm curious, because I know you've already got a list together, is what boss did you come up with for a Leisure Suit Larry?
None, because again, it's not in the game.
Well, he looks like he's at the top of the list here.
And that's why you're never in charge of tier lists.
Strange.
So moving on.
I'm trying to remember who else we had from our pool list. Was Master Chief? Did he make the final cut?
No, he did not.
Good.
And that one of the things that brings up a conversation. How do you feel? We talked about this with Rathalos a little bit, which is why we got inspired to do the boss fight episode in the first place. How do you feel about representing a game franchise through a boss fight, not through a playable character inclusion? How do you feel about that?
Absolutely, yes. Break every rule, yes.
I agree with that completely.
I want to touch a boss fight.
Interesting. I don't know how you pull that off, but I'm sure it could be fun. You have to. I feel like you have to break the rules of Tetris, and then it kind of isn't the same.
Nah, I think you got to climb it. You have to climb it, and then you have to like get through it and create. You become the final line at the bottom that causes. I have no idea. I'm talking out my butt, but
I can tell.
I don't know. You can do it.
I don't think that's bad.
You got to believe.
Well, you just said you have to climb your way through it. One boss that I thought would be very interesting, if we're talking
Mhm.
boss fights, I think you gotta find a way to get Shadow of the Colossus in.
Oh yeah.
So I would do Malice or Avion. Avion's the big flying
Let
pterodactyl
me
looking
look those
bird,
up.
and Malice is its final boss fight.
So, if we're gonna do Avion,
But I thought Avion might work
then
better as a
we can
possible
also,
stage. So that's where I was like,
if
I'll.
if we're gonna do Avion, we can also do a reskin of the Sandbird for Super Mario Sunshine and get two
Interesting.
boss fights for one.
Interesting. I think that kind of defeats the purpose,
See,
but
he's the same guy.
yeah, fair. Also shows you
That's
that
free money, baby.
I did not play enough of Super Mario Sunshine. It's just for some reason it feels like people don't care about that game, or they don't give it enough credit.
That game's cool, but that game's messed up. That game's hard, dude.
Yeah.
It's cruel.
Well, I remember people saying like you should play Mario games; they're not so hard. And then I remember the first one I ever got was Super Mario Sunshine. I'm like, this game's hard. What are you talking about?
There's a. Have you seen this like Shadow of Colossus like speedruns?
No, I haven't. I've
I
never
I'm just
played
gonna
Shadow of the
call this out.
Colossus. I've only seen clips of Shadow of the Colossus.
It's sick. It's recommended.
Yeah.
But there's I think yeah, Gaius. That's his goddamn name. It's the coolest thing in the world that's ever been in a video game. This Gaius guy, he's got a big old sword, and he will like smash the sword onto like the ground, like while he's trying to get you.
Yeah.
But if you're like an MLG best player in the world,
Yeah.
I'm really hoping check this guy out. Watch what he does. For the people at home, they're taking a big old swing. And then you, oh my god, they didn't even show it. What a waste of my time. He takes a big old swing, and then if he misses you, you can jump onto the sword and grab onto the tip of it. And then when he goes to pull the sword back, you can let go and let the momentum shoot you up from the tip of his sword onto the top of his head and stab him in the forehead.
Nice.
And it's like the coolest video game thing in the world. And I mention it because if we made this like a boss fight, I love the idea of like implementing something like that, of like utilizing the momentum as a like callback to this to like basically like shortcut the entire boss fight. If the boss fight is about climbing the boss, having something where it's like, and you could climb most of it at once by just like timing this jump well.
Well, that is something I definitely thought about from we just had this conversation off mic to a degree. And then I don't know if you caught on or not. I stopped talking very quickly because I knew I wanted to talk about it in show. Was
Mm-hmm.
Subspace Emissary or the Subspace Emissary
Yes.
storyline of Brawl. It's not perfect, but it is a giant step in the right direction. But we both came to the conclusion the platforming levels leave a little bit to be desired. In our opinions, I think we
Yeah.
would both agree it's the weakest point of Subspace.
There's better ways to do it.
But
Yeah.
I think that would be a really interesting way to put platforming in, get a taste of that old flavor that people love while doing it in a unique, smart way. If because the other thing is there's enough games that have been relevant that we could use as boss fights that are popular, would be interesting, and would be great inclusions to include franchises and be faithful to those franchises, not through playable characters, but through bosses, and get really cool platforming. That I could easily see this boss fight of Gaius from Shadow of the Colossus working in that capacity. That could be really
I could
cool.
see that too. It feels like the race to the finish levels.
Yeah.
Like you could do something race to the finishy in it in terms of like getting it is about getting to the top. And whatever, they've done boss fights like that in the past. I think the what is it the Darkon
Yeah.
Gaia or whatever
I think
the other
Gallium
light version
and
thing is
Darkon.
like
Yeah.
the yeah, Gaia. Like there are aspects of that boss fight that are just like you have to climb. You
Yeah.
have to just be climbing quickly. And like I think that they could do something interesting with that there too.
Yeah. And I think You can get that from similar things that even I was going to bring up here, but think of, we talked about the divine beasts of Breath of the Wild. It'd be really cool to go inside one of those divine beasts, have to deal with the elements of it. You get the platforming parts of it. You can fight other villains along the way if needed, like small stuff. But you're ultimately fighting the divine beast to conquer the divine beast. Same thing with a Shadow of Colossus. If we're going to use Gaius or Malice or Avion, use that as a platforming element to be faithful to the size of the boss that you're playing against, and at the same time give a really unique and fun boss fight. But you can get that through the new God of War games. Certainly have that in some shape or form. The old God of War games also have that in some way, shape, or form against some of the gods.
The scale is like the big thing they have going for them. Yeah,
and I would love to be able to include God of War. I think it's one of the best franchises on the planet right now. Use
what would you
Breath
include
of the
from God of War?
That's the tricky part. Is I think the highest quality of God of War, just from a fan perspective, is the new stuff, which is heavily the best stuff. There is from like singular combat with something that is close enough to you in size. Like the new God of War games, I think they don't have as much scale. They have they have the much more intense personal fights, such as the Thor fight or the Odin fight from Ragnarok. One that could work really well and would be a bitch of a fight to be in, but could be really rewarding for a player, is the end of the remake God of War, or the reboot God of War. Is the final fight is against Baldur, but you have to have Freya is also trying to attack you the whole time using the dead giant in the background, because she's trying, Baldur is her son. So she's trying to protect Baldur and not hurt you too much. But it could be a huge platforming element that's really, really fun to play with in a Smash context, while also having to take down Baldur, which would be an interesting battle to be put in with the likes of like a Pikachu, where you're like, what the fuck? Like, how do we do this? But it'd be interesting
I feel like
to see.
I already asked this, but have you played the new God of War?
No, I just watch every single moment of every single game possible.
I'm assuming I should play the new God of War at some point.
I think the story would be very intriguing for you. I think you would be better suited to play God of War 4, which is the start of the.
I beat that. It was great.
Yeah, and I think Ragnarok, as someone who was intrigued by the story the most, Ragnarok was so enticing and engrossing. But the Midgard Serpent could also be really, really cool, or Surtur could be really cool as stages, but you don't really fight them. Be interesting.
Yeah.
But I would like to incorporate some of those giant boss fights for scale and for platforming. I think that could be cool.
I get that.
So how do we feel? Like Shadow of Colossus, you've played Shadow of Colossus. What would be the one that you suggest is the one to go with?
So if we were to do it, like in my mind, the boss that you stated, like the last boss fight, is itself like a platforming challenge.
Yeah.
So if our goal is like we want to do a platforming challenge, like that would be a good way to represent that.
Yeah.
It's not the like number one most memorable like boss in the game, but I think that like it captures what we're looking to do well. So I think that could be cool. I How do I word it? I feel like when I think back on Shadow of the Colossus, there isn't a particular like one Colossus that specifically jumps out at me.
Okay.
As much as it is that like the fact that there's so much variety between them is what like makes it so exciting.
Fair. Very fair.
So I think that like the ones you picked are good. You picked like some of the really good ones.
Okay.
I think there's also like a sandworm one that's really cool too.
Interesting. Now you're pulling up Sekiro. Why? I've never played Sekiro. I've never watched any of the clips of Sekiro or whatever. Sekiro. How you're doing this?
Sekiro.
What is the Divine Dragon? Why are you bringing this up? It looks fucking rad, so I'm intrigued.
It's cool as hell. It doesn't actually need to be in the game. I was just when we are talking about God of War,
Yeah.
and when we are talking about Shadow of the Colossus, one of the things I think about is just like big bosses, and like the Divine Dragon in Sekiro is one of the last bosses you can face, and it is like the physical manifestation, spiritual representation of like the living entity of the Sakura trees in heaven in like Japanese mythology.
Yeah.
And it has like that sacred sword. Like you see the sword with like
Yeah.
the extra little like hitches coming off of it. And it's more than anything just like a gigantic scale boss fight that is visually absolutely gorgeous. Like you are at the top of the mountain that is at like the top of the highest peak that like enters beyond that like the heavens, and there is a tree that is branching out from it, and you don't kill the boss. You are able to get close enough with like the mortal blade, which is like the blade that can kill undeath, and
Yeah.
like using that you are able to draw a single tear from it, and then you use that tier like for your ongoing like whatever mission. Um, it is just a like in the scale of things, really gorgeous and really impactful boss fight. But also I don't think it actually needs to be here. I was just thinking about it because hey, big boss fights, and always happy to put some shine on Sekiro because Sekiro is the coolest goddamn video
On
game.
that note, because I did some research, how do
Mm-hmm.
you feel about putting Ishin from Sekiro in as a boss fight?
Man, Ishin is like probably the best boss fight I've ever like beaten in any
Okay.
video game ever.
Okay.
It's definitely the hardest thing I've ever done. And I think
Interesting.
Ishin is
That's saying a lot.
legitimately like, yeah, it is. It really is. And I think that like Ishin himself is a really, really cool character. Um, okay, this is slowly turning into just me gushing about FromSoft games, so I will try to be short with it. The
I
Ishin
set
boss
you up. I set
fight
you up for it.
is this Ishin boss fight is the coolest goddamn thing in the world, alongside the Sakura Dragon, which is also the coolest goddamn thing in the world, because he is like a famed warrior who is like an old man. He's an old decrepit man who's sick and like slowly dying. And like one of the things, I mean, spoilers for Sekiro. Um, Before the end of the game, one of the last things that happens is like he dies
Yeah.
and he's just dead. And like, oh man, this is a great man who was a great warrior, and now he's gone, and it is what it is. Um, for the true ending of the game, the I mentioned earlier how you have the Mortal Blade, which is one of the only
Yeah.
blades that can like kill undeath. Your arch nemesis essentially is someone who has the sister blade to that one.
Okay.
So they have like the other blade that can do it. And when you have a boss fight with them, like they are trying to essentially like manipulate the things at large because they are the prince of the homeland, and they are trying to defend themselves from an invasion,
Okay.
an invading force that is clearly winning. And when you fight him, uh, when you are about to kill him, he backs up. He takes his blade, which his blade, since it's the sister blade to the one that can kill undeath, his blade can open a path to the dead,
Okay.
and he uses it to like cut his own neck and slices his throat, opening up a portal to like the like world of death. And Ishin, the Sword Saint, his grandfather, like bursts from his body in his peak form of when he was like the greatest warrior that he had ever been. So like it is you having a one-on-one boss fight with the greatest fighter to ever live at his prime of his like fighting ability.
It's
So it's
like
like all of that metal as hell.
that's fucking metal, first of
It's
all.
like
And it's the first
yes.
it's fucking metal I've ever had on the show. And for people who don't know, that is a high level catchphrase in my life. Fucking metal, dude. Um,
Oh, it's so goddamn metal.
it's essentially the video game version, what you're saying, in a beautiful Japanese artful way. It's essentially
Mm-hmm.
if you could finally have the sports talk fight of LeBron goes, no. You're going to face 1996, 1997 Michael Jordan. At his peak,
Yes.
smartest he's ever been, best shape he's ever been. He's too good to be beaten. Okay, LeBron, now go play Michael Jordan.
Yes, they take that idea and they make it real.
That's
And then like
fucking cool.
and then they put it into just like also legitimately a really cool boss fight because like they do a good job of representing the fact that like a he has a very defined like fighting style, and b he's been doing it for a long time, so he doesn't just have one really defined fighting style.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna call out one last thing that is a really just fucking mind bending moment, which is like he's a three-phase boss fight. So like you get his health bar down, and then like in phase two, like he pulls out like he instead of having the sword, he pulls out like a giant pole arm and
Okay.
like starts fighting you with that, which is cool. But then the other thing that he pulls out is a goddamn pistol. And like in Japan, like
Uh-oh. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. We may have lost Angie. His love of Sekiro.
this was the era where like they were learning firearm. Phase is also just like badass because then he starts channeling Tomoe, who is like the person who taught the his grandson, and like he starts just like because you're fighting in the middle of this big beautiful like flowery field, there's like lightning strikes, and he like uses his giant pole arm to like catch the lightning and like throw it at you and like manipulating like the very like elements of nature
That's cool. That is cool. Uh-oh. Did it happen again?
against you. So and I will pull out my pole arm into like I will use the very gods and magic in nature itself to like dominate you, and then that ends in like you beheading him. And like if you can do all of that, like clearly you are like the greatest, whatever, the greatest ninja, all that stuff. So cool.
So I want to let you know we
I don't
lost
know how
you.
well that translates to Smash.
So we lost you twice, but you just kept gushing and it
That's fine.
came across, so it's fine. So how do you feel about him
Just,
as a Smash villain or a Smash boss?
we should do Artorias.
Okay, so I was just about to do this because you said I don't want to gush too much about From Software games. I have multiple listed because this is the Angelo service day. I am just going. These are where your
I'm
wild.
feeling served.
This is where your wild shit ideas are great. It's for boss fights because it's a great way to better represent the franchise. It's the same thing that you were calling me out on when I said Dragonborn or when I said Monster Hunter as playable characters. You're like, I think you're better suited with boss fights.
Yeah.
Is one?
So I
do you
will
want
say
Ishin in? First of all,
in a genuine sense, like I think that From Software, it would be very cool to represent them because I think boss fights are one of the like big things they have like added to the medium.
yeah,
Like their style of boss fights is important and matters to people
yeah,
and matters to video games as the genre is evolving.
yeah.
Um, I think Ishin is probably personally like my favorite boss fight and like the hardest and coolest boss fight that I've done in a FromSoft game. But I think that if we were to want to represent From Software, Artorias would be the fight to represent From Software as the like it was the titular like you versus another swordsman fighting someone that felt like they were on your level, and if you were going to win it was because like you had learned them and you became better. Like it is the example of like I feel like the first time that FromSoft really just like completely nailed it.
Okay,
Like it is as close to like a perfect boss fight as you can get.
interesting. So
And also it's incredibly popular and famous because of it too. Like
okay,
I think that Ishin's incredible as a boss fight, but also a lot of people. There are a ton of people who never beat it, who put down the game because like
they couldn't
it
do
is
it.
just too hard. Yeah, like they just couldn't do it, and like I think that that is like kind of cool in a certain sense, but also like that means there's also a ton of people who didn't get to see the like sequel teaser for like a Chinese Sekiro game to come in the future. Like there's just a lot of people who never got to like actually do it. So like Artorias is like the one that people did do that was really hard, but the difficulty was something that most people still chose to overcome. They put the work in for it.
So here's what I wanted to say. I'm gonna just list the
Go for
other
it.
ones that I have from software that struck me as at least interesting.
Okay.
I have Artorias down because I've done my research to at least know it seems to be the most iconic and most important of the Dark Souls bosses. Not necessarily. I
I
know
think so.
Ornstein and what's the other guy?
Ornstein and
That's
Smo.
yeah. So like those are like kind of iconic to show what like Dark Souls is, but I don't think it's like the
Mm-hmm.
fight like you said. You brought up Gaping Dragon as a playable character, and I said boss fight. Would
Yeah.
you think that? Would you want to do Gaping Dragon? The other one is
It.
not Dark Souls at all. It's Melania
Mhm.
from Elden Ring.
Elden Ring. I wouldn't do Melania.
Okay.
I think of the like uber hard like from soft boss fights, I think Melania is on the lower end of them.
Ooh,
She
interesting.
is still really cool. Like it's a cool boss fight in the same way that all of those are cool.
Okay.
But I think that like there's enough like around it. A big part of why I think Melania is as big as she is because like she is the uber hard boss fight in the brand new FromSoft game, which is Elden Ring.
Okay.
And Elden Ring itself is like the greatest video game ever made. So like because of that, of course there's going to be a bunch of shine on Melania, but like they've done cooler stuff. Even though conceptually she is very cool. Like rot stricken Valkyrie, like actively like wasting away,
Can you
but
pull
still
Millennia up
like
right
be.
now for
Yeah, we can pull
those
up
that are
Melania.
watching on YouTube?
Let's try to make sure we get the censored Melania. Yeah, look at this. And she's like whatever. She is the statue you can get with the game.
That's
She is really
it's
cool.
it's really cool.
It's really badass. And like the fight itself is cool too. There's like there's some components of the boss fight that I think um maybe skew a little too far into, I'm not going to say unfair, but like difficult enough to not necessarily be like fun.
Fun. Okay.
Yeah. But like I still think whatever. She's still a from soft boss fight, and from soft boss fights are sacred.
It's just the way you said it. So you think if
That's
we
cool.
don't have to limit ourselves to only one from software
We don't have to.
boss.
I think Artorias would be the one.
Okay, so I'm
I
gonna
think
make sure
that
Artorias is in.
we should limit ourselves to one. And I think that Artorias would be the one.
Okay,
Yeah.
I felt of the franchises to represent, Dark Souls was the most important. So
Yeah, I think so too.
I'm down for that. That is some rad artwork that you've pulled up. I'm sorry to
Yes, it
only
is.
the Spotify listeners because that is some rad artwork that you cannot see. That looks like
Spotify listeners, I highly recommend you checking out the YouTube video.
this
There's
is
some cool stuff.
such a horror comic come to life. That is
Hmm.
glorious. Okay, I'm gonna stay within your lane actually
Let's hear it.
because we talked about the PC Master Race. What if you
Oh
think we
yeah.
go one of the more iconic older PC bosses and we go Diablo?
Oh, interesting. I'm not like super in tune with Diablo, but I think that would be a cool part of video game history to represent. Diablo matters. Diablo's important. I think doing a actual Diablo boss fight would be cool.
Did you pull up Diablo for us? I love that I'm just asking you to do all this stuff. Sorry, but
Oh yeah, happy to do it.
especially like I knew Diablo was a big deal when I was a kid and I had a PC that could barely that like Age of Empires 2 barely functioned on. So like
I I I do gotta say now that I've pulled up Diablo, what a corny looking MFer.
oh, of course,
Like
Diablo
this is
2.
like very much someone scribbled this in their like in the corners of their notebook in
Yes.
seventh grade.
Yes.
Like man, what
We
a
can we
funny
can
looking dude.
always work with it. What's the newest Diablo? Are they on Diablo 4 now or are they on Diablo 3?
Diablo 4.
Okay, let's look at what Diablo 4 looks like.
What does Diablo 4 like
Diablo, I guess.
Diablo? Yeah, right. Oh man, that doesn't work. Diablo 4 Devil
Yeah.
Boss.
That looks better.
I don't even know if that's him though. I don't know that that's like the actual Diablo. Whatever. He's I think this is I think this is him.
Well, it's the same thing. Like when they did Ganon in Ultimate, they didn't do straight Beast Ganon.
Yeah.
They did their own iteration of Ganon and gave you enough of Ganon to be like, oh, that's Ganon. But it wasn't
Mhm.
any like pulled straight from the source material Ganon from Zelda. We could get
Yeah.
some Diablo. How do you feel about Diablo as a boss. I love that idea from the gaming history standpoint because we did a lot of trying to represent gaming history in both our character cut down and our new characters trying to represent different genres of gaming and gaming history. I love the idea of including Diablo and taking Diablo strictly from the PC and taking it to a Smash Bros. And being able to be like, yo, Diablo's been important for almost 3 decades at this point. Like, I think I first heard about
Yeah.
Diablo in like the late 90s, and I was 7 at the time. Because there was just like
I think
an older
there
kid
are
I knew that
people who
talked
would
about it.
care a lot about it.
Yeah.
There are people who would care a lot about it. I don't personally have like a strong affiliation with Diablo,
Yeah.
but I think PC representation is sick, and I think that it would matter to some people.
Yeah. Because the other one I have that's close to Diablo is Hades from the actual Hades game. But it seems to play. The boss fight seems to be extremely similar to a Diablo boss fight from back in the day.
Hades in Hades game.
It looks Hades looks badass. I want to say that he looks so freaking.
I feel
cool.
like if we had to pick one, I'd pick that one just because it's also like indie representation.
Yeah,
which is cool.
I would. I could.
Badass.
It just looks so cool.
Not that they have to compete with each other, but
we can still think about it.
Yeah.
I also think it's important.
Have you played Hades?
I've now played Hades.
Okay.
I've just done the research on boss fights.
Gotten far on it.
The other thing is, before I go full tilt into some other directions, I do think, kind of like on the Rayquaza thought process, I think it's important to have some not smaller, but more introductory fights that could be interesting. So one of those that I had was the Molduga from Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom.
From Breath of the Wild.
It's like, I adore that fight. It's just fun because it's a different mechanic and way to play. And I also think it could be really different from a Smash standpoint because it's always up through the air or side scroll. There's never anything usually coming up underneath you and to just attack you to really do much with that. So I always thought that could be a really interesting idea of the Molduga, and it would be more of like okay, we're going to take the Molduga into Smash in that Rayquaza style role of, whoa, this is fun. That's cool. But it's not like you're big guy. Like, I'm viewing automatically, this is how much reverence I have from Software, even though I do not play their games. I just know that much from your love of it. I would assume Artorias, or the only thing is due to scale, Artorias or Malice or whoever we pick from Shadow Colossus would be like the last battle. Because of the status of like, yo, that's pretty fucking cool.
I think that it would be more likely to be Malice than Artorias in my mind.
Yeah.
Artorias is really kick-ass, but part of what makes him kick-ass is that like he is mostly just a normal dude.
Yeah.
And like he is incredibly strong and capable and difficult, even considering so, and that makes him cool. But like if we're trying to go scale, I don't think that he's the one who would like trigger that.
Yeah, I get it. So that was fun, and another one I thought could be a fun run at a more introductory boss.
Are we putting chaos in this?
Chaos in what? What are we talking about? What are we talking about in chaos?
Are we putting
chaos
chaos in this game?
What is chaos? Refer to what chaos is
from Sonic Adventure. Sonic Adventure Chaos.
Oh God. I'm gonna assume no, unless it would be like a trophy or spirit or whatever.
Ah, you gotta fight chaos. Fight chaos.
I'm down to include as much as possible.
Chaos, you also get chows.
Well, remember though, we're also, I forgot that's the one actual kind of villain that we have outside of the Nemesis. We'd probably have to have a Dr. Eggman fight. See, I fulfilled
because you can totally unlock him that way.
I fulfilled my contractual obligation. I didn't even say his real name. So,
thank you.
You're welcome. So, Eggman would have to kind of be a boss as well. But the other one I thought along the
Oh, what if
line
you just
of,
fought a bunch of chows?
I'm cool with chaos being in it.
Hell yeah.
But I would personally
Be
do.
this guy.
I don't know enough about the chaos fight. Does chaos have anything to do with Eggman whatsoever, or is it just kind of on its
No,
own?
he's technically does, but like he's kind of also his own entity. I don't think they have to be together. I think that that could be a fun little mashup thing,
Yeah.
having like the Dr. Eggman fight, and then like as you like kill Eggman, like all of a sudden chaos shows up. It's like, oh snap, it's popping off.
Yeah, and I just love trying to get as many references to games in as possible. I think that's the fun that we've
Yeah.
kind of built into the Smash game. I think that's why Smash itself is so fun. The only other
Mhm.
one that I had on more of that fun introductory boss level, I feel because we put him in as a new character, Neo Cortex from Crash Bandicoot.
From Crash Bandicoot. That's fun.
I just
I like
love
Neo
the
Cortex.
aesthetic of Neo Cortex so much because it's also just
He's a
absurd,
goofy looking dude.
mad scientist. I also think it would be really fun if Cortex was in as a boss and you could get on stage because we could also do Dr. Wily from Mega Man so we could get Mega Man back in the game. You could get
Hmm.
Eggman, Cortex, and Wily all on the same one as part of a challenge, and you have to do all three bosses at the same time. And you just get mad
That'd be
scientist
rad.
boss fights. I think that could be really, really
I
fun.
love the idea of a mad scientist boss fight. That seems super duper fun.
I'm gonna put down
Um,
Dr.
have
Wily.
I ever shown you my Have I ever shown you my uncle Arky?
No. Does he look like Neo
I have an
Cortex?
uncle. He looks like Neo Cortex. It's kind of awesome. It's the coolest thing in the world. He was a he was a really good guy.
Okay.
It's a
I mean,
bummer that he's like not in our life anymore.
that's unfortunate. But the
He
fact that
also
your first reference to him was that I've ever heard in our near decade long friendship is he looked like Neo Cortex. It's just that is the most Angelo statement I've ever heard in my life.
So the main reason I say it is because he did, man. That's his fault. If
It
you want to get
works.
compared to Neo Cortex, you got to stop looking like Neo Cortex.
If it works, it works. I'm not
His
sad.
his full name, I'm not gonna say his full name, but like his not nickname is Archimedes, which is
Hell
such a
yeah.
goddamn cool name,
Oh, it's a great name.
man. Yeah, if you have a kid, name it Archimedes.
I think I'm out on the kid front, but you know.
Oh my god, have a kid so you can name it Archimedes on my behalf.
We can think about it.
Oh
So, do we want to put Cortex in?
yeah, I think for the like fun mashup of like here's all the mad scientists, that'll be cool.
And then, how do you feel about the Molduga? I shouldn't do this now. I'm going to just give you ideas and then we're going to talk about it. So, this one I don't know if you know enough about because did you play Bayonetta and Bayonetta 2?
I played some of Bayonetta 1, but not like
Okay.
a supreme amount.
Do you know who the Masked Lumen is? It's kind of on the. It's the same
Nope.
veins of. It has a similar vibe to Ishin from Sekiro, where it's kind of like an equal that has the same speed, has similar powers. It's just on the different side of the spectrum as Bayonetta.
Would
So,
it not be Jean? I feel like if you're gonna do a boss fight from Bayonetta, it's gotta be Jean, right?
I mean, I would assume, but I was also trying to like just do cool stuff as well as a little bit outside of the
Try
box.
other cool stuff. That's fair. I respect that. I respect that.
Because I also think like you're getting a lot
Sorry, I
of
didn't
those
mean
like
to poo-poo.
classic. No, no, no. I think it's very reasonable to have that thought because I originally thought that when I was doing the research to be like, well, isn't Gene the
Miss it.
kind of the antagonist? Like, wouldn't you want that? But then when I did like classic research, I was like, what are the best boss fights? And a lot of people were like, in Bayonetta, it's actually like Masked Lumen is the one. Um,
Is like the cool boss fight. Yeah.
yeah. So I thought about that. Another one. Did you play through the Champions Ballad of Breath of the Wild at all? Because I didn't play through it. I just watched clips of it. I
Nope.
played some of it. But you get to
I did
play
not.
the monk, one of the actual monks from Breath of the Wild.
Oh, that's cool.
I thought that could be really cool from a story mode perspective. Is when you have to like kind of rally the troops Avengers style to take down villains or take down the big boss in the end. It'd be fun to have a really challenging boss that's kind of on your side, but it's like you're not good enough to progress. You need to beat me and show me that you're actually worthwhile before I put you into this fight. I thought that could be a really fun kind of like
he'll work with you. That's cool.
I thought that'd be a fun nod to Breath of the Wild and the fact that it's always shown as this challenge, but you know the monk is on your side technically, even though they're kind of just like there. They're not really on your side or for you. They're just not against you either. Yeah. But I thought that could be an interesting like story
you're still
standpoint.
bros, but you have to prove yourself to him.
Yeah, I thought that could be an interesting story element. Then this one is now we're getting into different stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I brought it up in the past. I gotta get it in somehow. How you feel about Alduin from, and you said you never played it, from Skyrim? Because I had an interesting mechanic. Have you even seen a clip?
I don't know who that is.
Have you seen even a clip of the Alduin fight?
He's a dragon.
Okay.
I know he's a dragon and he talks. He speaks English.
So here's what I thought was the most interesting thing about Alduin that could be a Smash thing that could be really fun. I like how you're just scrolling through like 3D models of random stuff. It's just very interesting.
Isn't that so cool?
It is cool.
He's doing like N64 models of like a bunch of like modern video game characters.
That's pretty cool. We should definitely
this is even Smash Brothers related.
We should definitely put some links video, and I failed to put the link in the last video, but I will.
Hell yeah!
I will go redo that. What I was going to say is one of the cool things about the Alduin fight in Skyrim is you take that fight into Sovngarde, like Valhalla, and he kind of sits at the gate to the Longhouse to finally get in and be shown as to be a member of Sovngarde. The idea is he's lived for thousands of years eating off the spirits of the dead that never truly made it to actual Valhalla. They just made it to the gates of Valhalla. And he puts like this mist over all of Sovngarde. That's kind of cool. I thought it'd be really cool to take, this could be teasing another episode as well. We had those couple characters that felt like sacred cows that we had to cut. What if we use that as a story advantage and in the middle of the boss fight because yes, it's a dragon. Like, I can't argue it's not a dragon. But to get Skyrim in, which I think is a great franchise to put in the game. What if you bring back like evil spirit versions that he's protecting from getting into like hero heaven essentially? You bring back, you already have the playability of it. You have to face like Fox and Ness and those characters that didn't quite make the cut and just really tease the player even more. And we could bring that as a way to rescue them back into the game. Or you just have it, they're like, no, they're corrupted. That's why you don't have them right now. Almost the Mortal Kombat-esque thing. Can't play as them. And you get like, you have to fight like 3 or 4 fighters that you don't get anymore, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, so you have to play a traditional Smash element, and it's constantly being interchanged with a boss fight in Alduin, and get like that Skyrim-esque thing in. I just thought that would be a really cool story boss. Like, that was the one thing when I was thinking about bosses, like From Software is like, this is a skill boss. This just shows I'm a badass player. Then there was the platformer or big bosses that were for scale. And then there were just the cool bosses or the introductory bosses. But I thought a storyline boss like Alduin would be a really cool, fun add. That is also a ridiculous tingle that I just saw. What the hell?
It's tactical tingle.
But how do you feel about that kind of mechanic towards like a story
I think
boss?
it's a really cool idea. And I like that as a way to like get a little bit of like in-world justification for like the characters that you don't get to play as.
Yeah.
I think it was it might have been Mortal Kombat 10 that did something like that, where there were some characters that didn't make the cut to be fully playable, but they became like support characters.
Yeah.
Where they would jump in during the fight to do like 1 or 2 different moves so they could be represented and part of the roster, while not necessarily having to like make 800 different characters to include everyone in the game. So like you could get some representation from your favorite. It's kind of like assist trophies, like
Yeah,
get some representation of your favorites in the game while still like respecting that there's boundaries to how much a developer can really like practically do.
yeah. I definitely thought that would be an
Yeah,
interesting
I
thing.
like it.
And then the only other ones I have are I'm definitely gonna need your help with two of them because I didn't play the games. I just
Okay.
know of them. The one seems like I'm contractually obligated to bring up Pokemon. There's one boss fight that actually feels like a boss fight from a Smash perspective, not necessarily from a Pokemon perspective. Sword and Shield,
Mm-hmm.
Eternatus. I think that could be a really cool boss fight. And I think that could be a really
I think so
cool
too.
tie-in because when you get Gigantamax Eternatus, it becomes a hand that's attacking you from a corrupted sky. It'd be really fun to get
Mm-hmm.
Gmax Eternatus and Master Hand and Crazy Hand at the same time, and you're like, what? And it's kind of like you're fighting the hands of God. So it's like,
That could be really cool, like similar to the is it the one that they did in Super Smash Bros. 4? Where like if you beat Master Hand and Crazy Hand at a high enough difficulty, like the Master Shadow or whatever comes out.
yeah, the
Like
Master
that could
Core,
be
yeah.
a cool twist on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Master Core. That could be a cool twist on the Master Core idea. Is that like, oh, like it's not Master Core, now it's like this Pokemon representative, this Pokemon representative standing in for the idea of, and here's another hand fight.
Yeah, and
And here's like our new take on a hand
I
fight.
also thought it was great because you could still even do another Pokemon boss fight if you wanted to, but it's a very different thing because you know Eternatus, it's a dragon. We're gonna have dragons on this.
Mhm.
Rathalos is already in the game. We're probably getting Alduin. There's other things that have dragon
Mhm.
elements to it, but then you're getting a completely different element of it where you can get dragon and poison elements from the Eternatus Gmax, but you're getting that Gigantamax Eternatus as the hand to really get like a hand of God feel where you're like, fuck. Like I thought that was either
Mhm.
cool, or you could go to get the Pokemon Legends. You could do the two phases of Giratina, and you could put it in the platforming element of the constant twisting and turning of the distortion world. I thought that could be a fun idea.
Would that be for Eternatus?
That wouldn't be for Eternatus, that'd be for Giratina. So that's where I was like, I would fight for Eternatus. I think it's just more up to date. Um, give
Yeah.
some
I
love to
I
Sword and
think
Shield, but
not
Giratina's
not to
just
smack talk
cooler.
Giratina, but eh.
I just love Giratina.
I,
It's Pokemon Satan.
okay.
I
That
fucking love
makes sense.
Giratina. Like
Is he Satan?
that's essentially the idea.
I guess that's fair.
It's the counterpart to
He's just from the
Arceus.
gen that like people didn't play.
It's Gen 4. That's the start of where Pokemon becomes a little bit more niche, I guess, which is so funny to say Pokemon's niche. But
Yeah.
like that's the one where Gen 4 is really the divide. Where Gen 3 still had enough people that were just like, I'm playing Pokemon. Where Gen 4 is really where
Mhm.
it became I'm a Pokemon player. Not I play games, which means I inherently know
Yeah.
everything about Pokemon. Just Giratina is so cool because it's fucking Pokemon Satan. It's fucking metal.
He is
Um,
cool. Looking at his design, he is cool. I agree.
but I also like
I like didn't have any strong opinions on him because like he just wasn't really like in any of the, he wasn't a center point of any of the games that I played.
yeah. So in Gen 4, there's the Distortion world. He lives in the Distortion world, which is supposed to be Pokemon Hell. Let's be honest. So, but from a platforming element in Gen 4, even on the DS, you start going up, down, upside down, topsy turvy, all over the place to show you how weird and different this world is. And I thought that could be a really fun
Mhm.
boss fight mechanic where you're constantly being like, and now I'm dropping from the sky. I was setting up an attack perfectly, and now I'm being screwed. And I have to figure out
Yeah.
how to time this right and how to do it properly. So those were ones I
I like
definitely
that
want
idea.
to bring in to it. And then here are the two
I'm
I need.
always a fan of when the game is screwing with you.
Yes. And then the two. What are you on right now? This is such an odd, ridiculous. Sailor Kirby, Sailor Mars, Sailor Moon. Oh my god, what is happening?
Look how cute that is. This is that same guy. He apparently, alongside doing all these like N64 style models, he also just did a bunch of Animal Crossing designs,
That's cool, man.
including like some really good sailor outfits.
It's pretty rad. I'm not gonna lie to you.
If you would like me to stop at any point, let me know.
No, I mean, it's just
In my
intriguing.
mind, I'm doing the.
It's just intriguing because I'm not prepared for it. I'm just like talking through like boss fights, and I'm like, what is this Sailor Moon Animal Crossing crossover thing that is up on screen right now? The two I'm gonna need your help with.
So if you ever go on TikTok
Yeah,
or the Instagram,
or the
you would
Instagram.
see TikToks and Reels where people are just playing Subway Surfers like
Okay.
underneath their videos. In my mind, I am Subway Surfers. I'm just like scrolling through this cool feed of Regressor, and it's just gonna be on the video, and people are gonna be able to see it, and like
Interesting.
they can just look at other cool stuff while also listening to us.
True. That is true. Now, these are two that you would know more about than I would. Do we
Let's hear it.
need another Monster Hunter monster in? I have no issue with it. I just thought there's a lot of cool monsters. I know Rathalos is the one, so to speak, but I've seen a lot of other cool monsters in my research, so I was like, I have to ask.
If I were to like do a Monster Hunter thing, personally, I probably wouldn't pick Rathalos just because like there are a ton of really awesome like monster designs in that game, and
Okay.
there are other monsters that I think are cooler. But I think like they've already done Rathalos. The Rathalos they've done is done really well.
Yeah.
I don't think Monster Hunter needs two separate reps.
Fair.
So like I feel like if we have Rathalos in, like we have done what's needed. There are other video games that could be pulling from.
Fair enough. And this one is definitely something I never played, but I know is huge because it's the only me costume that ever got people really, really excited. Sans from Undertale.
Undertale?
Yeah. It's mostly for the
I
music. I
feel
know a lot
like
of people want the music.
music's really goddamn good. Undertale is itself a really good game. I feel like boss fights aren't necessarily how I would represent Undertale
Okay.
because have you seen like gameplay of Undertale?
Yes, it's very different from anything that is Smash. But I saw the Sans
Yeah,
fight and I loved because I immediately saw the comparisons to Galeem and Darkon, where they have just the
they could
waves
do
of
it. They could do it. You're right.
they have the waves of energy and you have to avoid it. But how many times the pattern changes? Marks has a similar attack basis as a boss fight as well.
Yeah,
So I thought it could work, but you're getting an updated version of those things with a uber popular character, and a boss fight is kind of our way of going, yo, we really want to represent this franchise. We really want to do something fun and cool.
hmm
But the main character or playable character isn't the best representation of this game. I thought that was kind of the
yeah.
way to go. So that's why I thought Sans could be wildly interesting.
I think that's fair. If you were to do it, I guess it would just be a bullet hell boss fight, which isn't something that's totally foreign to Smash Bros.
Yeah.
Um, I I would say like I think the fan base would be more excited about playing as Sans than they would about playing against Sans.
Okay.
I think it would be a cool moment if there was a Sans boss fight, but I also like one of my like points of caution, and the other side of this is like I don't care, put everything in the game. But like the other caution is that like I think part of it is that like Sans is also kind of a meme. So like people are excited about the idea of Sans in the game because like they never really thought Sans would be in the game because like he is cool. The moment in Undertale like that you have with Sans is a cool moment,
Yeah.
but it's also like kind of popular because people have memed it for a long time.
True.
It's not necessarily just because like oh this is like peak video games.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, that's kind of mine. Do you have, and I know I said kind of mine as if I didn't just go on a hour long lead the tirade. Did you think of any that I am just not thinking of that you think could be really, really cool?
So I did want to kind of open that conversation of um how do we fit the Toyota Corolla in as a boss fight?
Or not?
Counterpoint.
Go ahead. Go
That's
ahead.
it.
Dig your
No,
own
that's it.
grave.
That's my counterpoint.
Fair enough.
Um, what I was actually going to say is I don't actually feel this. I'm just saying ideas out loud. Twisted Metal. Twisted Metal. What the hell's that clown's name again?
Samoa Joe.
Sweet Tooth
Yeah, it's Sweet Tooth.
and Samoa Joa.
Let's say Samoa Joe plays him in the show. Great
Is there a
professional
show? Do
wrestler.
people watch a show?
It's on Peacock.
Is the
I've never watched it. I just know
Oh, I
some.
saw the trailer for that.
I just know Samoa
The
Joe. Who are
trailer
you
was
seeing?
like one of the worst looking things I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. But Samoa Joe, who you are
Have you
seeing on screen right now in a lot of these image files, plays Sweet Tooth.
have you seen that trailer?
Yes.
It is legitimately like awful. It's
It
like really terrible.
so yeah. I'm not gonna fight that it's not great or that it isn't subpar. It is. It at least got me
It's
intrigued
like
because I always
subpar.
it always got me the artwork, the cover art of Twisted Metal always had me intrigued of what the hell is this game? When I was a
Twisted Metal's
kid.
cool, yeah.
Because it was an adult PlayStation game and I was a kid PlayStation player. I wasn't an adult PlayStation. Like I didn't play Metal Gear as a kid. I didn't play Duke Nukem. I didn't play Twisted Metal. I didn't play a lot of the classic adult oriented PlayStation games. So I was in Crash
Uh-huh.
Bandicoot and Spiral Land. That's where I was,
Yeah.
and I played the Yu-Gi-Oh card game, and like that's what I played on PlayStation. So, but Twisted Metal, the artwork and the cover art always stuck with me,
Yeah.
and that's why like I saw the trailer and I was like, do I just want to watch an episode of this just to see like what Twisted Metal's kind of like? I guess I
It's
don't know.
nothing like this.
I would
It
assume.
is nothing like this. I for the Spotify listeners, there's like a thumbnail of the trailer playing on my screen
Yeah.
where you get to see cool dialogue like, "Oh, you think you're a tall glass of water? I'm more of a glass of Hawaiian punch." And then he punches a guy. And that's the writing we're dealing with.
Oh God.
And that man,
Also
it
copyright, by the
when
way.
I saw that wait, yeah, that's no sound, no audio.
I know.
Um
Still.
when I saw that trailer, it was legitimately like one of the worst things I feel like I had ever seen. Like as writing, as media, as like a someone put that together and we're like, this is what people are gonna want to see. I mean, whatever. Sorry, I not to crap on you because you were just like, yeah, I saw that. And I was like, oh, I should check that out.
Well, no, it was because I was
But like, I
intrigued by
could
the
not have been
game and
more
wanted
off
to
put
know
by it.
what it was like. Not because I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that looks like a show I'd love to. Because I think I remember
Um.
putting it. I remember that trailer came on either during a Sunday Night Football game I was watching, or I was watching, or it came up while I was watching because Peacock has all the WWE. So it was, while I was watching like the Royal Rumble or one of the pay-per-views, and Ab was right
Mhm.
next to me, and it came on, and she's like, "What the fuck is this?" And I was just like, "She's like, what is Anthony Mackie doing in this show?" And I was just like, "I don't
Uh
know.
huh.
I couldn't tell you at all." But here we are.
So
It has a
for what
67%
it's
on Rotten
worth,
Tomatoes and 7.4 out of 10 on IMDb. Interesting.
for what it's worth, I'm not necessarily saying like original Twisted Metal is like that's the tone they should go with
Yeah.
because like the original Twisted Metal is like super edgy and like it's kind of try hardy in a lot of ways. But like the trailer and whatever, I haven't seen the show. I just saw
Yeah.
that one trailer and I thought that one trailer was awful. Um, it is like going for a like irreverent dark tone.
Okay.
And like I think that in order to do that, you have to do it really, really well. And I came away feeling like what they were showing was exceptionally corny.
Yeah.
Like it was not appealing because of the like, oh, here's like a wacky clown man who's quipping at me. And
Yes.
like, isn't that fun? And I don't my takeaway was it was not.
Also, how do you I don't know enough about the game to represent Twisted Metal game. So that's where I'm like,
I mentioned it because I'm thinking about when I think of driving games, racing games,
yeah.
and then when I think of boss fights specifically, Twisted Metal is what comes to mind because it's all car combat.
Yeah.
So like I think you could totally do a like Twisted Metal boss fight in terms of like it would actually sort of be like Rathalos where like you would have a lot of like phases of it coming from like off screen trying to hit you, turning around, shooting rockets at you. you dodge it, you get some hits in, that kind of thing. Like it would be pretty straightforward to like represent. I think it would be kind of cool to represent something like that in
So are we
terms of
talking
X-Series
like
games, the
sweet?
car combat element.
So like Sweet Tooth's essentially truck from Twisted Metal.
Yeah, it would be Sweet Tooth's truck would totally be it.
I don't hate that,
We can do a
honestly.
truck fight.
And also,
Yeah,
like my one concern, obviously, you know, we don't have
rated
to
T for teen.
kind of, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
weird to have a weird bondage looking clown in a game that kids can
Mm-hmm.
technically play, and we did bring it up a lot how like the Mortal Kombat conundrum. So it's kind of hard
Yeah, and the Bayonetta.
to then put like the full on bondage clown look that we just saw with all the Sweet Tooth files on the video file that we just saw. It's really weird to see that image in a kids game where like
Mm-hmm.
I'm like even the Sweet Tooth Wikipedia picture, you're like it's just that doesn't say not even kid friendly. That doesn't even say I would want my kid to even see that right now. And it's not like so extreme that I'm like, whoa, a kid could never see that. But it's just like it has those elements where you're
Yeah,
like, there's weird things that we don't need to talk about right now with these kids. Whereas you could put
yeah.
Sweet Tooth freaking out outside the window as he's taking
Mm-hmm.
damage. You can put the top of Sweet
Yeah.
Tooth's truck and get away with it. That's fine.
Oh yeah, put this Sweet Tooth in. Look at that guy.
Oh god, that's so janky
He
looking.
looks like Terrifier.
This is so janky
Have you
looking.
seen Terrifier?
No, I have not, but I've seen a lot. Yeah, I've seen all those. My God, images.
You've seen those JPEGs?
Yes, I've seen a lot of Terrifier images and stuff like that. So, but yeah. So where anyone else? I'm
Not
sorry.
recommended. Terrifier's.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
the problem with a lot of modern horror movies is that like they're trying to go for the classic horror icon. Half the time they're not trying to make a great movie. They're trying to make a horror icon, which is fine. I understand. They're of the ilk that grew up
I do
on
think.
Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger and Jason. Like
Mhm.
they want to make icons. That's fine if that's what you want
Yeah.
to do. But then half the time the movie isn't any good.
I will say I do think that like the design of Terrifier is good. I
Yeah.
think like at a high level, like the clown, I don't remember his name, but like the clown is like a good design and a like good scary character. The main thing is that the movie is like just really balls to the wall gory
Yeah.
and like it is it is edgy.
Yeah.
It is very edgy and they like are deliberately like pushing the envelope into like continuing to ask themselves like wouldn't it be even more messed up if blank? And then every
Yeah.
time they ask themselves that, they say yes and then they do it.
One of those. One of those. Got it.
It is lacking in nuance.
There you go. That's a great way to say that.
But whatever, who's expecting that from Terrifier anyway? It's fine.
Exactly. So let's go through. Who do we want to put in? Who do we want to like? What should we say this? Are we down for the boss fights for the villains that become playable characters? Do we like that?
Yes.
And is there any one of those that does not belong to have one?
Um Before we finish that out,
I'm seeing
I'm
Metal
thinking
Gear,
of
and
the Metal Gear series.
I was about to bring up Metal Gear.
Metal Gear has a lot of really, really excellent boss fights.
Senator
I'm trying to
Armstrong,
think like
obviously.
what would be. It's gotta be Senator Armstrong. That would actually, man, that'd be crazy. Thinking about that. Thinking about that.
I just said that as a
Smash
joke.
Brothers wouldn't do it.
Smash
Brothers wouldn't do it.
No, they like the
But like,
counterparts.
it's cool.
They like the counterparts, which is smart. You want the counterparts. You're going for icons. That's part of the reason you don't want to go too niche with a Smash Brothers game because it's supposed to be the icons of the icons coming together. Which is why it's a big deal when your game gets into Smash Bros. Because you're like, they fucking made the big time. Like kind of like you were saying with Joker and Persona.
Mhm.
When Joker becomes a part
Yeah.
of Smash, you're like, oh, this is real now. Like this is a real
Part of
franchise
Smash.
now.
That
Yeah.
means that like, yeah.
So what would you say for a Metal Gear boss, and how do you incorporate that? Because there's so much stealth in Metal Gear. So that was part of my issue of getting a good boss fight in Smash is like so much of Metal Gear is based on stealth elements.
So, a lot of the boss fights aren't.
Okay.
That's kind of like one of the things is that most of the boss fights are kind of more built around like we are implementing a core game mechanic and like here's like a gameplay idea expressed outwards. So
Okay.
like when I was thinking about it, I was thinking Metal Gear Solid 1 because that is like one of the ones that I think is most iconic. Um there are great boss fights in all the games, but like the first things that came to mind were Psycho Mantis, um the cyborg ninja, Gray Fox I think is his name, and Revolver Ocelot. Revolver Ocelot is like the cowboy guy.
Okay.
And from those three, I feel like Psycho Mantis is obviously like the most exciting from the like he can read your mind, he can read your inputs, he can read your memory card. Like it would be fun for Smash Brothers to do something like that. So I think
Okay.
that like that could be cool. And it would be fairly straightforward to translate him to a boss fight because he's a psychic. He floats around, he like throws stuff at you, he telekinesizes you and other people around you. Like
Okay. So
there are
can you pull
very
up
straightforward
Psycho
ways to
Mantis
translate it.
specifically so I can see it, so I know what the fuck I'm talking about?
It's this guy on the far right.
All right, that was what
This guy
I
on the far
thought
right.
Psycho
But I can
Mantis was. It's the
still.
one that has like a gas mask looking thing.
Hmm.
Gotcha.
So and Psycho Mantis is also like kind of standout because he has been a boss fight in multiple of the games.
Okay.
So there's a Psycho Mantis boss fight in Metal Gear Solid 1. There is the Screaming Mantis boss fight in Metal Gear Solid 4, which is technically like a different character, but like a direct homage to Psycho Mantis.
Yeah.
And then in Metal Gear Solid 5, there's a boy with red hair
His
whose name I don't
name is
remember,
Evan. He
but he
has a podcast. And
I know that guy. But he's Psycho Mantis. And like he's been represented throughout the series a lot. So I feel like he would probably be like the most interesting and iconic representation to put in.
interesting.
And plus he's just like he's a psychic guy. He's cool. And
Because
like it would
I think
be
you would go
right.
classic. Because until you pulled it up, I had no idea about this red-haired version.
Yeah.
But I've at least seen the Psycho Mantis and know it's a big part of Metal Gear. And then
Yeah.
the
And I think it
Screaming
would be
Mantis
fun
would
to
be a
play around
great
with the fourth
face.
wall element.
That's too. That's also very cool. Um, and the
Yeah.
Screaming Mantis, just that's visually so dope for a boss fight. I'm on board for
Yeah.
Psycho Mantis, and honestly, you got me on Sweet Tooth's truck. Honestly, especially getting that
Yeah.
racing
Put them both
game,
in.
I'm cool with that. So are we ready for final
Um,
noms?
the last thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to look at my Steam library and just scroll through the games that I've played in the last like 6 months
Okay.
to see if anything jumps out as like that would be great to represent.
All right.
So
As you are doing
we
that,
could put
I
Vegeta
went.
in it.
No. So I like how often
Okay, yeah, we're good.
I just flat out have to say no. Um, I will give you the ones that we already know are in, and then we can give like a kind of like a number. Because I do feel we need to not limit bosses. I want to have as many cool experiences
Yeah.
in the game as possible. Also, you have Virgil up, and I've seen Virgil like 12 different times
Oh yeah.
from Devil May Cry. Do you want to talk about Virgil? Do you want to?
Virgil's cool. Devil May Cry is cool.
I've never
If you're
played a
gonna do
Devil
a
May Cry game.
representation from Devil May Cry, Virgil is who you should do. Um, if anyone is watching at home, if they are Devil May Cry fans, they are probably really mad about how many times this Virgil has come up
Yeah.
because I specifically pulled up the Virgil from the DMC Devil May Cry game,
Oh, the
which
one
a
where
lot of
Dante
people
looks
unduly
completely
hate.
different and is not like Dante at all.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
Great way to troll
that game's
everybody.
great.
I'm glad as long as I'm getting
I'm
trolled, other people are getting trolled too.
not even trolling, just a good game. Anyone who listens who doesn't like that game is bad, and they're wrong. And it's a
I
cool game.
I think it's
It's
more
edgy. It's actually go ahead.
I think it's more the fact that they even put in a cutscene where he looks like traditional Dante, and then he pulls it off, kind of makes fun of it, and he's like, "This is new me," and you're like, I think you're intentionally just trying to piss people
Yeah.
off. Which I love because I don't play the
That's a good
franchise, so
moment.
I love the idea that's like, haha, but at the same time, so like I said, I fought for Duck Hunt simply because he's a troll. So, like, I love
Yeah.
that.
I think he's like fighting someone and a mop lands on his hair or lands on his head and he looks at himself in the mirror and he's like, "Ugh, never," and throws it away, which is it's a good bit. It's a good bit. I think that the Devil May Cry fans should be able to laugh at themselves.
I feel that that's very true.
And whatever, Devil May Cry is cool. I say that as someone who just likes the other ones too.
I respect that.
Oh man, just put Sailor Moon in the game.
Can't do it.
Look at her. It's just Sailor Moon and that's me. That's me for real, for real.
Oh God. Now we're going off the fucking rails. Gotta stop doing because
Did we put Tony Hawk in the game?
no, we did not. Tony
Damn.
Hawk, at least too real
Guess
again.
we gotta restart.
Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. I can't, man. I can't do it. Can't do it.
Come on.
Oh, do
What, are
we
you gonna
want to?
record a football podcast tonight or something?
Yeah, possibly. Do we want to have a King K. Rule boss fight, or is he the one that we're just like, let's just have him be a troll and have fun?
Ah, that's a good question. Because he's already in the game as a playable character. Does he make sense to be a boss fight? I guess so. I guess he would.
I mean, he is a villain if we're
I
doing every other villain, but at the same
Yeah, that's
time, we don't
fair.
have to do it.
That'd be fine. You could do it. Do it. Sure.
You want to do like
That'll be the
the?
first one we cut.
Do you want to do like the phases of King K. Rule, or it's like Pirate K. Rule? There's King K. Rule the boxer, and then there's like the Frankenstein monster, Franken Doctor, essentially King K. Rule.
So real quick, how long is our list of bosses? I know we said we were trying to get under
Well, that's the
20.
problem. I started doing like how many phases they're in, so I could give the details. And I'm like, fuck, I didn't do this list properly. Like, all right, I'm doing fast as possible.
Oh, that Mario looks bad.
Which Mario looks bad? Smash Ultimate
One on
Request.
the far left.
Oh yeah, that's brutal looking. That's from like the old Jumpman aesthetic.
Yeah. I think he's like going for something specific here,
Yes.
which is cool. I appreciate what he's going for. I don't visually prefer it. I will say like I should just to talk some sugar because I've been scrolling through like 15 pages. This guy's work is awesome.
Yeah, it's
It's
very
incredible
interesting and
stuff.
unique. And I do like the fact that he's taking it back
Yeah.
instead of trying to like bring it forward. It's a very interesting and unique dynamic to definitely
Yeah.
style.
Oh, they did Edward. Look, it's Edward.
I think the cool part here, beyond the art, because the art is definitely cool, is just the polygonal
Uh-huh.
style. It's fun, especially since we started the show with style. It's just really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting to see. Oh, Ed and Eddie. Throwback.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that is totally like what brought us here. Was just the fighting polygon team.
I will say the other part I was going to say about the
Oh, that's so
boss fights
sweet.
that's pretty cool is the fact that
Mm-hmm.
there was like no nose. It was just that could be
Mm-hmm.
cool, and even the ones that we were kind of skeptical on, we built out to be like, oh, that could be a cool fight. So, in saying that, we have
God, remember Candlejack?
no, I do not. What the heck is that? Looks like a bootleg Spider-Man.
I think it was like a joke meme from like Freakazoid, and the idea was that if you said Candlejack in one of your comments, you would just like cut.
Interesting.
You would just cut out because you got kidnapped.
Interesting. It is kind of crazy. All right.
Yeah, it's fun.
Think as of right now, including the last two, we're at 20. We have
23. Oh, we're fine.
we have Master Hand, Crazy Hand. That's if I didn't miss a villain character. So
Okay.
Master Hand, Crazy Hand, and it's kind of in no order. It's just jumbled. Bowser, Sephiroth, Ganondorf, Mewtwo, and King K. Rool and Eggman. We're not counting Waluigi as a villain, I'm assuming. Oh shit, the Nemesis.
No.
It's 24.
We could
Okay.
probably cut K. Rool.
I mean, I'm fine with 25 or below, because at least it's like, fine, whatever. So,
I feel like we should put some kind of limit on ourselves.
25, I forgot the goddamn Shadow of Colossus one. Fuck.
A.
Alright, so, we're at 25 with Shadow of Colossus. Let's go Master Hand, Crazy Hand, Bowser, Sephiroth, Ganon, Mewtwo, Taboo, Rayquaza, King K. Rool, Darkon, Galeem, Dracula, Marks, Rathalos, Eggman, Neocortex, Artorias, Eternatus, Dr. Wily, because we wanted to have the Mad Scientist one. We don't need it, but also I feel bad that we took Mega Man out.
No, that's one of the cooler ideas.
Yeah.
Science Circle, let's do it.
Alduin, Diablo, Sweet Tooth Truck, Psycho Mantis, Nemesis, Malice. From Shadow of Colossus.
And that totals us at 25.
That totals us at 25. Do we want to try to bring it down to 20?
Let's try to bring it down to 20. I feel like we should limit ourselves in some way just to force us to be scrutinous.
Yes. I think, of the villains, King K. Rool can go. It was an afterthought, and I adore King K. Rool. So I think that says a lot about the boss fight itself. It hurts me.
I don't. Yeah, go ahead.
However, we didn't put the Molduga in, so that doesn't as much. I was gonna say we could probably cut Rayquaza, but Rayquaza is a great first one, a great callback. But at the same time, it's also a great Gen 3 rep, and Gen 3 is actually underrepresented in Smash of all things. But it's not a big deal.
That's fair.
Yeah. But I can see Rayquaza getting cut. It's not that I don't want Psycho Mantis because it sounds really cool, but we already have our Metal Gear rep. And is Metal Gear enough to get both a boss and a playable character? That'd be a thought process.
Definitely, yes.
And I understand I'm talking to a huge Metal Gear fan, so that
one. I think that Metal Gear is a huge franchise. There's a reason it was a big deal when he came to Brawl. I think that Metal Gear definitely it meets that threshold.
My only concern is, are there going to be any new Metal Gear games going forward?
Did you not play Metal Gear Survive?
No, I don't even know that exists. What is that?
What are you doing, man? Metal Gear Survive was the latest new Metal Gear game, and also so to more seriously answer your question, they are currently working on a giant current generation remake of Metal Gear Solid 3.
Okay.
That is in active development and looks beautiful.
How about this? Let's cheat our way to
it's just not Kojima anymore.
Gotcha. I was gonna say that's pretty difficult to do. I don't have your creative one.
Yeah.
All right.
Who needs them?
Let's do the best version of the boss fight. Let's cut a slot by putting Darkon and Galeem together, like they are at the end at the spirit mode. So we're at 1, 2.
Yeah, they should be.
So we've cut down to 23. We need to cut 3 more. Ooh, this is difficult.
Okay.
The Sacred Cows, we're not touching.
I don't,
We need to have Artorias. I'm not cutting that one. I'm even fighting for your beloved Dark Souls now. So that's pretty crazy.
I played Dark Souls 3 for 15 minutes and had a good time.
Good time is a stretch, but okay. I will say this, sidebar. Us doing all these and talking so much different video games is actually forcing me to kind of live out my idea of trying a lot more games, which is why I'm just going on the Antenna Online service and be like, oh, I'm just gonna try that game. Let's see how it is. If I don't like it, it's free anyways, whatever. And I'm like constantly fighting the
I'm
urge.
just gonna try the Game Boy Pokemon trading card game.
Pretty much, but I also like live, as you know, I live 4 minutes away from a GameStop. So I'm kind of always tempted to just be like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? Let's just buy a Fire Emblem game. See how it goes. Let's just buy a Monster Hunter game.
Ooh,
See how
interesting.
it goes. Like, I'm interested in possibly doing that. All right,
Mm-hmm.
let's do.
Hey man, video games are cool.
Do we want to
I love video
have
games.
Eggman, Cortex, and Wily all have their own, or do we smash them all into three and Eggman is the only one that gets his own?
What if the boss fight is all three of them in one, and if you beat all three of them, that's how you unlock Eggman?
Don't hate that. Because that kind of
Yeah,
solves our problem almost immediately, and we just need to cut one more.
yeah.
Because we have
Is Sephiroth on the list?
Sephiroth's on the list.
Okay, good. He should be.
Again,
Like
he's the big one.
when Smash when they put Sephiroth in the game, they made like a whole separate like bonus mode that was just like a Sephiroth boss fight. Like, yeah, he should be a boss.
Yeah, and that's where I go 8.
Do you know about that? Because do you remember how when they put him in the game, he was like uh he was a boss fight and that was how you unlocked him? But then they
No,
removed it from the game?
no,
No?
I don't
Oh,
recall it. I,
interesting. Okay.
I, I vaguely remember that, but I don't recall that at all. Which is super cool.
So part of the reason I'm mentioning it is because I've talked in the past about the Yes We Do mod that I made to like a tool to create custom spirit battles.
Yeah,
Um one of the like most popular mods that I released was Sephiroth Challenge Returns, which is I recreated that Sephiroth Challenge fight as a spirit battle for people to like download and mod back into their game
nice.
so that you could like redo that Sephiroth challenge.
Fighting
Which
for
is
the
like
people.
it's cool that like yeah, I'm glad that I got to be one small part of letting it live on, which is cool.
Man of the people. Man of the people.
Yep, yep. We love people.
Alrighty, we are at 21. I can live with 21
21.
because we could kind of make
Now we should cut.
Malice is the only enormous boss, so it
Hmm.
kind of fits that it could be like the big final bad.
I feel like we could cut one more
I
because like
agree.
20 is a nice round number.
I don't want to do it, but Diablo could be the one cut.
Yeah,
We weren't like
I think I'm just
it was we're
immediately like
gaming history like meh.
yeah. There's like I almost would say like if we wanted a PC rep, like something from Half-Life or something would be cooler than Diablo anyway.
Yeah,
Or like World of Warcraft or something like that. Like
did think
I'm
about
sure
going
there's
that
someone who
route.
would be super stoked about like a World of Warcraft like boss fight.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're getting to 20. I think that it is okay for that to be sacrificed.
Well, if we want to get World of Warcraft in, we go the South Park route and we put an item in, and it's the Sword of a Thousand Truths, and that's how we take care of
Yeah.
that.
I love that. And it's just a little USB stick
Exactly.
and you fight with
Exactly. All right. So our
it.
final boss fights are as follows: Master Hand
Mhm.
returns by itself. Crazy Hand returns by itself. You can technically do both together, but that's not going to count as like a separate fight. That could just be part of a challenge mode.
Yeah. Look at Crazy Hand with his weird fingers. Good for him.
Unlockable challenge: Bowser into Giga Bowser.
Giga Bowser.
Thank you for doing this live. I was about to ask you to do that. That's very cool.
Hold on. Look at this Giga Bowser.
That's definitely Demon King inspired. It's a really cool mashup.
Yeah, that's kind of sick.
That's pretty rad. I ain't gonna lie to you. That could be really fun if you ever did
This is
fusions in the future. Because that's
this is the
so
one we're putting in
Ganon.
our game.
That's so obviously Ganon
Yeah, it
inspired.
is.
All
Yeah,
right.
it is. Well, we'll say for our game, this is Giga Bowser.
Final boss
You
Sephiroth
fight him,
as an unlockable
Sephiroth.
is is there. So we have
Yeah.
Sephiroth as a boss fight.
Have you seen like PS1 Sephiroth?
No. I need to see it now. Just oh my god,
Oh, not
it
this
looks so
one.
toy dollish.
So there's that, but I meant this one. Like he becomes like the ultimate mecha angel god Sephiroth, and it's sick.
Yeah, that's rad as hell. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying for boss fight. I'm like,
boss fight.
you need to fight Sephiroth. You need to beat normal ass looking Sephiroth into that. You actually have to beat that if you want to earn
Yeah,
just being able to right to play as Sephiroth.
I love the idea of like angel god Sephiroth fight.
We have Demon King Ganon going into Beast Ganon, going into Draconified Ganon, which is
These are rad.
yeah, Demon King Ganon's the way to go. He's just so fucking
He's just got like cool chest tattoo,
yeah,
like
pretty
tribal
much.
tats.
Ooh,
Rad.
yeah, look at the Demon Dragon.
It's
Not
not
that.
that one.
Nope.
I'm gonna close my eyes because I
That's
still don't want spoilers on it.
uh, it's pretty rad. I ain't gonna lie to you. You should just look at it because it's cool.
I'll fight him. I'll get to him.
Eventually,
I
eventually.
might have I might have accidentally deleted my save file. I hope I didn't, but I might have.
That's hurtful to you and
Oh yeah.
everybody in the world. All right, number 6, Mewtwo.
Oh yeah.
Then goes into Mega Mewtwo X and Mega Mewtwo Y. But definitely want to get that
hell yeah.
Cerulean
Is he in
Cave.
Pokken Tournament?
Believe so.
I didn't know that he was like a boss fight in Pokken Tournament. That's kind of
It's
cool.
it makes sense. What other real boss fights in Pokemon are there? Especially that you
Yeah.
could do in a Pokken tournament. Mewtwo's kind of like the only one. Number 7,
Oh man.
Taboo makes his return.
This is
Taboo
intimidating.
is Tab. That is a really weird Doom looking Cerulean
This is
Cave.
scary.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
definitely
it
makes
is.
Mewtwo look far more
I don't
intimidating. What is Pokemon 3D?
I don't know what Pokemon 3D is.
Maybe this is
Yeah.
something we're gonna have to do for the
The
channel. We have to
official.
play.
That's what I'm kind of thinking, man. What the hell is this?
This is fun
Did I
exploration.
just download it?
I really like how
I
this
just
is
downloaded
becoming
it.
both an audio friendly show, but this is like best of just wandering clip show as well. It's a very interesting vibe.
That's the best way to exist on the internet, man. Yeah, this seems sick. I think we. Oh man, yeah. I think it's like the old 2D games, but like
Just
presented
3D.
on a 3D explorable plane.
Yeah, I think I'll have to
That's
play
a cool
that.
look.
It is a cool look. It's a cool
We should do
vibe.
a Nuzlocke of this.
A Nuzlocke of it. Oh god.
Yeah.
Nuzlocks
Come
are just
on,
such a
do it.
pain in the ass. Just such a pain in the ass. So many rules.
What are you afraid of? You're a grown ass man.
My time being gone. That's what I'm afraid of. I have no time.
Look at you, someone who values their time.
Yes, God forbid. It's not like I have 98 billion creative projects to work on, including rebuilding an
So
entire
your
Smash
time's
game
more
for no reason.
important than all those other Nuzlocke people.
Yes.
Ooh,
Alrighty.
wow.
So we have Taboo
Talking
returning.
down to the fan.
By the way, I have 20 slots.
Taboo.
I'm on number 7 right now.
Sorry,
so
let's
number
get back to Taboo.
Number 7 is Taboo.
Taboo. Yeah.
That's a really cool vibe.
That's great because he's also just like he's just a back tattoo, man.
Yeah.
Like he is kind of like
He's a tramp
personified
stamp. He's a tramp stamp. Yeah.
Yeah. That's sick.
All right. Number 8, Rayquaza makes its return, or Rayquaza, depending on how you say it. I always knew it as Rayquaza, and then apparently it's supposed to be Rayquaza. I don't know.
I also say Rayquaza. Rayquaza sounds gross, and even if it's correct, I'm gonna say that Japan's.
Yeah, I like Rayquaza. So Rayquaza
Sam
is back and returns from Super Smash Bros. Brawl with some augmentation. If we're number 9 is Darkon.
Mega.
Is Darkon and Galeem together?
Darkon spelled correctly.
Yes, and Galeem, yeah.
Spell that correctly too.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So we're gonna make that one boss fight entirely. And again, you could do the Master Hand Crazy Hand thing where you could do them separately and then they go in together. You could do that, and I wouldn't count that as like a separate boss fight. Number 10
Wait,
Number
look,
10.
they're getting married.
Oh, how lovely. I love their
How
love.
lovely. Opposites attract.
We have Dracula, the Dracula fight from Smash Ultimate, which is, again, just a great fight. And what a great nod, especially now that Nosferatu. Nice. Count Olaf.
It's cool they put this guy in the game.
God. Father of the Vampire, technically, from a cinematic sense. It's the Count Olaf character. You're gonna definitely need to put in Smash, or
Sure about that?
yeah, let's go Hotel Transylvania Dracula. I love this. Adam Sandler is a part of Smash.
Get in the frickin' flash. Fucking hate that movie.
I know. I could tell.
It's so bad.
I could tell just by the way you said it. Little Nicky is in Smash.
Little Nicky is really, really bad.
Yeah.
I watched it again recently, and sorry, we don't have to do this, but
it sounds like you want us
shit,
to,
dude. No, we don't have to. But I got my swears in for the day because woof, dude. Oh.
All right.
Sorry, who's next?
Number 11 is Marks from Kirby.
Oh yeah.
I was flabbergasted at how much Karl Marx, father of communism, is in the game.
Also father of Kirby.
Whoa, that's not Masahiro Sakurai.
It looks the same to me.
I don't know about that. That's what Sakurai's gonna look like after he works on this rebooted game.
Oh yeah.
With a big ass beard.
Alright. Actually, there we go.
Yeah, it's Groucho Marx. Yeah. I like how you said we don't want to go long, and you were intentionally elongating this with all of your internet searches, by the way.
I'm not intentionally elongating it. You wanted visual representations of the characters, and I'm doing that for you.
All right, no.
I'm being a service. Next up.
Number 12, Rathalos.
Cool.
Very good boss fight. Very fun.
It's a very good boss fight.
Right, and represent
Apex Rathalos. It's a Rathalos that does push-ups, so he's got like a built-out chest.
I'm assuming that's not the one that's in the game from that.
No, it's not.
So maybe we can implement Apex Rathalos.
So there's like modified and altered versions of like all of the of like most of the monsters. So like it's like worth calling out, I guess. Like there's also Rathian, which is like a green Rathalos.
Okay.
But if I'm remembering correctly, Rathian are female species Rathalos, and Rathalos are like male species Rathalos. So like it's like different versions of the same creature.
Very cool though, nonetheless. That's definitely something you could toy with difficulty settings.
I think so too, and that could be really cool.
All right, number 13. It's 13. It's the Mad Scientist Bowl. So we have Eggman, Dr. Eggman. We're putting respect on his name. Mm-hmm. We have Dr. Eggman. We have Neocortex from Crash Bandicoot. And we have Dr. Wily from Mega Man. They all make an appearance here. And I think that's the best way to do it. You get Dr. Wily hair with also Dr. Robotnik. You had a good picture there.
Oh, sorry. Let me get back to it. Here we go.
You kind of have vibes of all three of them in that together.
Yeah, I see it. I do see it. I love that he has a little name tag that just says scientist on it.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. That's super Crash Bandicoot to say, though.
That is actually that's pretty CB.
Alrighty. Number 14. Your boy Artorias.
Yeah. Artorias of the Abyss. Get a load of this guy. And we're also basically just putting guts in the game. It's a sick Berserk reference.
Interesting.
Artorias is so cool.
Artorias is pretty visually interesting, I must say.
We should fight him like this.
Why?
What is this? Um, can I share a fun detail about Artorias?
Yes, please.
He is a incredibly strong and well-established knight. One of his like special details is that he is a swordsman who fights with his left arm because he is left-handed.
Okay.
Um, when you equip his weapon, if you equip it in your left hand, you do bonus damage with it. So it's a cool way that they like get that idea across in gameplay.
Nice.
When you fight Artorias, he is wielding the sword in his right hand because during his time battling in the abyss before he got fully consumed by it, he just like completely like broke and destroyed his left arm. So the entire time that you are fighting him, his left arm is just like limply flopping around every time that he's like moving around and like swinging at you. So like even though he is like an incredibly difficult and like hard fought like knight warrior battle, like you are also fighting him with him holding the weapon in his offhand that he is not used to. And like
Rad.
it's just a really cool detail they capture with him.
Love it. That's actually really cool. Alrighty.
It's real
15.
badass.
Gigantamax Eternatus. It just should be Eternatus, but Gigantamax specifically, or Gmax Eternatus, would be number 15. I like how you're VMAX because you want to get the Pokemon card in and not Gmax, but that's interesting. Either works. It shows the
I
same
don't know
thing.
what VMAX is.
VMAX is so they have Pokemon
What?
V. So VMAX is when you do just your like you just grow a Pokemon in Sword and Shield. But Gigantamax is when they have a special form that happens. So like
Okay,
so
I see what you're saying.
if like Eternatus V happened or VMAX happened, it'd be a bigger version of just the dragon form. But the Eternatus
Okay,
Gigantamax or Gmax would be
is his hand
is the hand. But they don't have Gmaxes in the card game, they only have VMAXes in the game. So it gives a cohesive titling.
Got it.
Yeah.
Can I quickly call out that this is like incredibly radical?
Oh yeah. Super cool
Like
card.
this card art.
Oh yeah. I love that card
It's
art.
like
That may
really
have been one
cool.
of the cards. No, I don't think I had Eternatus stolen from me. But I had a few
If
cards like
you
that
had
stolen
that
from me.
stolen from you, I think you're allowed to shoot whoever took it.
It was probably a kid, so no. And also, I just don't believe in gun violence. But I appreciate the sentiment. Just
Well, do you believe in people stealing your Pokemon cards?
no, of course not. Those are my Pokemon cards. I love Pokemon.
Then, then I guess you gotta shoot them.
All right, number 16,
Not against the
Alduin from
rules.
Skyrim, specifically from the story standpoint of our returning characters that couldn't return any longer, so they couldn't make it to Sovngarde. You could also have other dragons
like
attack
that
because
idea
it's
a
the
lot.
Lord of the Dragons. So it's just fun.
Ooh, Dragon Lord.
Yeah,
Um,
pretty rad.
he's just a dragon, huh?
He's really just
Like looking at him, he's a dragon ass dragon.
he's a dragon ass dragon.
Yeah, they committed.
However, you could do a giant fight where because he's the Lord of the Dragons, technically you could go from like Rathalos to Rathian to Apex Rathalos, and then you could have Alduin who's commanding Apex Rathalos. It'd be pretty cool. That's all I'm saying. All right, number 17, we have Sweet Tooth's
Stack
truck.
dragons on dragons.
Yeah, we have Sweet Tooth's
Yeah.
truck from Twisted Metal.
Sweet Tooth ice cream truck.
It's bonkers. It's absurd.
Yeah.
But we're gonna have it in
What-
there.
Can we see like Twisted? Oh, it's in Rocket League. I didn't know that. That's cool.
It doesn't shock me that it made it to Rocket League.
Yeah.
That is so janky looking.
Look
That
at
has
that.
introductory.
Yeah.
That has
Look at this
introductory
guy.
boss. That has introductory boss written all over it to me.
Oh yeah, 100% agree on that.
All right, number
Twisted Metal
18.
Black. Yeah.
Number 18,
Yeah,
Psycho Mantis from Metal Gear. Then we
Oh,
can get
yeah.
to what's the second one?
Screaming Mantis.
Screaming Mantis. Thank you. So we can do Two-Phase with Psycho Mantis and Screaming Mantis if we'd like.
So I just got to call out that when I searched Psycho Mantis Gamer Girl came up.
Oh god.
I am going to click that in a second. But
God.
this is like him without his mask. He's all messed up.
That's rad.
He was like experimented on.
Heck yeah, dude.
Gamer Girl? Is this real? Oh, I don't know what this means. What?
Okay. Either way, we don't need that. We don't need it.
Yeah, no gamer.
Number 19, another play-in would be the Nemesis from Resident Evil 3. We already said it's going to be an unlockable fighter.
Nemesis. Are we gonna do the remake design or the OG design?
I would go remake personally, but that's just me.
Nemesis.
It's really whatever we could make work where it doesn't look so horrific that it isn't going to get past a censorship for a teen rating.
So, is there a good...
But it looks just absurdly, ridiculously awesome.
This is like the original Nemesis design.
Yeah.
And this is the remake Nemesis design.
Gotcha. A little bit more toned down.
His nose is still there,
yeah.
but it's like curved and like melted forward to the side.
Yeah.
Whereas this one is just like completely removed and gone.
Yeah.
It is a little more toned down. I think in practice, I think both of them are actually really cool.
Yeah, they're both cool.
This is like, this ties to like the memories I have as a child of Nemesis.
Gotcha.
But I like both.
Fair nonetheless.
We could also, let me actually look at a Marvel versus Capcom Nemesis. Because that is
just holding a rocket launcher at all times.
Yep, it's super cool.
If it works,
he has moves where he just like hits you with the rocket launcher, which is fun. Just like literally club you over.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, and our final slot goes to Malice from Shadow of the Colossus. That is our big final platform story. And Malice is...
Oh, yeah, look at his big dress.
It's interesting.
Oh, yeah, my bad.
And then you're getting shot with, like, electric powers as you're going through it. It's just cool.
Yeah, and it's, like, dark and stormy. It's a cool fight. I have played through the entirety of Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah.
I have not played through the entirety of the remake of Shadow of the Colossus, and I should do that because that game is absolutely gorgeous.
Interesting indeed. But that is the 20 boss fights that we would be having in our Super Smash Bros. Reboot. Any final thoughts on those Smash characters whatsoever?
I'm excited to play these boss fights.
Hell yeah, dude.
When are you going to be starting the work on programming them?
I thought that was a you thing.
Uh-oh. We're gonna have to talk about this. Uh-oh. Our whole project is falling apart.
You know what we're gonna do? I got an idea. Let's just keep talking about it.
What are we gonna do?
And making it sound really cool and just like never do it.
I think if we talk about it long enough, Sakurai will reach out and he'll make us the creative directors for the next Smash Brothers.
That sounds like a great plan. Because I'm here for money, bro.
Dude, I'm all about the cash money, brother. Honestly. I'm gonna DM Sakurai. I'm gonna tell him, I'm gonna send him your videos, okay?
Alright, sounds rad. I think it's a great idea. As he's hard at work on the next development of the game, as Nintendo just keeps saying, you can't quit, dude. Makes us too much money.
Well, he should start getting hard at work on getting us a job.
I think that's a great idea. Great idea. And on that note, you know what's also going to help us? Do you know what's going to also help us get a job and make money?
What?
I'll tell you what.
What is it?
Go to ptcreative.etsy.com. Use the promo code BLISS.
Woo!
For any order of 2 items or more, and you're going to get 20% off if you use that promo code BLISS, BLISS, over at our Etsy shop.
You hate to see it.
You hate to see it. You hate to see it. Or do you have it pulled up right now? I was going to say, by popular demand, I was told that I had to have the you hate to see it line. So we have bucket hats now. We've got hoodies. We've got T-shirts. We've got stickers. We got all kinds of cool stuff. No, it is not me. It's just one of the product photos.
Face reveal? Is this real you?
No, it's not real me. However, can you do me a solid?
Mirage?
Can you go back to the Etsy shop and could you show off the cool bird keeper sticker or even one of the hoodies? Because that'd be super rad if you did that. It's a really rad, awesome new legendary bird sticker that was just released. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. And now there's hoodies and zip-up hoodies along with the t-shirts. It's cool stuff. And you should go get some for yourself over at ptcreative.etsy.com and use the promo code BLISS. Help yourself out. Or if he's stressy and depressy, get that nice Psyduck sticker. That Psyduck t-shirt. Because it's rad.
Stressy and depressy.
All kinds of cool stuff over. Thank you for the Mount Moon. I love that one too. Obviously, I love all of them because I did all the artwork for them, but nonetheless.
Because you made them all?
I made them all, Except the Pokemon cards, but I made the Pokemon mystery packs, which are also available over on the shop. So go help yourself.
Whoa, bro. Reginald Davies.
Yeah.
Where is the Hawaii sticker? What the hell happened?
It's on there.
Is it?
If it's not, it may...
is this just your featured items?
No, it's just like the first page. You gotta remember, I have like 60 plus items on there.
No, yeah, it's not here.
Oh, no.
You only have 24.
Ooh.
Evan, what did you do? Can I not get a Hawaii sticker anymore?
I can put it back on. It's because I think I let those lapse because the listing is done on those ones. That's why. I thought I had till next week to do that.
Dang.
But it's okay.
Dang. That's messed up.
But if you can get the internet in a tizzy to get more Hawaii stickers, I'll gladly put them back up on the shop.
Come on, internet. We gotta fight for this. It's $2.50 a sticker. And it's the value because you actually get 3 stickers.
I thought it was 4 stickers.
You're getting 3 stickers.
I thought it was 4 stickers.
So it's not because this is not an accurate representation. These lines are actually bigger than you think.
Darn.
I think it's actually 2 stickers. It's just the top left portion and then the bottom right portion. Nice. That's how you actually get it, which is really, really upsetting because I was hoping to put 4 separate stickers on my laptop and I was only able to put 2. So.
You're such a dick. But yeah, go to ptcreative.etsy.com. Right, I also love how you're going on Etsy and showing other people's stuff as I'm doing a promo read for the shop. By the way, thank you. Thank you very much for that.
Dog, they just got stickers on this site.
I know.
You can just get stickers.
You can just get stickers.
That's crazy.
But on that note, that is the end of today's show. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. I hope Angie enjoyed his time showing off everyone else's artwork. Yeah.
Evan, you've got big Pisces energy.
Do I? Because I'm a Cancer.
That's crazy because you got big Pisces energy according to this sticker.
I both love and hate you so much in this moment. I'm here for money,
I just want to give a shout out to... Yeah, dude. We just also want to give a shout out to Just Peachy Studio ATX because...
Also, I'm not going to lie. I think as you were scrolling, I accidentally went back to OBS, so half the stuff that you were scrolling on isn't even going to be in the actual video file.
Oh, oops. What an accident. I accidentally didn't give any airtime to any of those other cool creators in the world.
Yeah. No, actually, I'm saying most of mine. I switched back for that. So the other people are going to get credit.
Good. Oh, then good.
So yeah, just if you want to look now, you can look now and see some real cool items that are available on ptcreative.etsy.com. Use that promo code BLISS.
So this is a list of all the ones that you've sold. Can you tell everyone who bought one of these to stop being an asshole and leave a review for you?
I could.
What are they doing?
I could. You can tell them that too.
It's not just about giving you money. They got to give you money. That's what I'm telling them right now. Hey, motherfuckers. Give this man your money.
He used his swear for the day too. Hey, that's how you know he loves us.
That's it. This deserves the swear. That's important. Buy that Hawaii sticker and then give him 5 stars. I'm gonna follow your shop.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It's most successful. Hey, already got the phone notification. Hey. Done it. And on that note, we're gonna call it a day. Don't do that. That's rude. So rude.
We had no notification for that one.
It's so rude. So stupid. It's so stupid. We need to end this podcast immediately. Okay. Well, on that note,
it's a good time, friend.
this is a lot of fun, and you guys should go hit that. Just go smash the like button and subscribe and like follow TikTok, Instagram, wherever you can. I'm not even gonna do the usual spiel. Just be cool. Help us out, man. We're going crazy doing this.
Give Evan your money.
Yeah. Seriously. I'm trying here, guys. I'm trying to make cool stuff for you. Oh my god. Why are you doing this?
What's up? There you go.
With a question mark?
Well, I don't know. It seems like it's his money, man. You know. Do you want me to specifically say like buy stuff from Evan now?
I can put a Kirby sticker up for Sakurai if it helps.
Yeah, reach out to him.
I'll make a custom Kirby sticker for him.
Buy stuff from him. He made Kirby. Sorry, he
will make Kirby.
He
invented Kirby.
You're breaching his copyright.
What are you doing?
And my lawyers will be speaking to you post haste.
What are you doing?
Please buy a Hawaii sticker.
It's not even available right now. Why are you putting it there?
Okay.
I also love how I reacted as if he was actually going to do that.
He will do it.
Oh, God.
I sent it to him. I'll let you know what he says.
Thanks, bud. I appreciate that. That was all captured on video.
You're welcome.
So that was really nice. I'm really happy.
Oh, good, yeah. Now everyone knows my Twitter account. Uh-oh.
Whoops. And on that note, that's the end of today's show.
Privacy.
And that's the end of the show, everybody. It's been fun. Angie, you want to say goodbye? Any more with the Sakurai tweets?
Yeah, hold on real quick. I'm going to say goodbye.
All right. That was a beautiful kiss. Jesus Christ. Love to all you people of the internet. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching today. We appreciate you.
Love you guys.
Love you too, everybody. Peace!